All right, I think I'm live. I think we're live. What's up, Realm Chat, Parb, South to West, Amazing Grace Thorpe. She's pretty amazing, TBH. I mean, it's hard to knock her. What's up, South to West? This show is so great. It really is. I think we're gonna do a quick Luke West stream this afternoon. I want to listen to the April phone call with you guys, and I also want to. We're only a year behind on Luke, so we could get caught up with a few streams, and I really want to look at this. I guess you call it an investment arc from Luke. He's very money driven right now in like 2026, and he's like all about buying, monitoring the stock market and shit like that. What's up, Cody Turbo? I gave you a shout out in my taste test this morning. I haven't posted it yet though. What's up? It's me, JF. What's up, man? Oh, South to West. You came up randomly. I was listening to something this morning while I was getting ready, and it ended in something. I was watching a VP video, and it cycled to the next thing, which was a Controlla video. And you told Controlla to stay strong, and she's like, "Thank you, South to West." I just about lost it. What's up, F Wood? But I think the Luke West. I really want to get caught up on Luke West. I want to get to this investment segment pretty bad. He bought one share of Tesla. Did you see that he posted like his whole we'll get to it. He posted his whole portfolio at one point. What's up, Daninsky? Daninsky, did you I saw you were in the Thorpe chat yesterday. I gave you a I gave you a little bit of a tribute. I said Grace hates streaming, but only does it to make Ben happy. Clip on mics. All right. Well, anyway, today we're going to watch Sightings. This afternoon we'll do Luke West. Tomorrow is... What's tomorrow? Thursday, George Dorunda. Friday will be Memphis and Boyd Watch. Yeah, very exciting. Controlla introduced you to the Thorpes. Wow, that's kind of interesting. That's a weird... Have they ever had any interactions? I don't understand, just to be honest... I don't understand who Controlla is. Like, is she just an A-logger? Vinny Slugga, good morning. Matt, okay. Fair. Good morning, Mark. Happy Ash Wednesday. Did you put a little bit of an ash on your forehead for Ash Wednesday? The Thorpe struggle session was something. Are you talking about the one yesterday? You have a retirement account? That's fair. YouTube is my retirement account. I'm hoping that Luke West or Grace or somebody blows up, and then I can make money going to to VidCon for the rest of my life, signing $10 autographs. You remember Controlla? Yeah, she's always on. I can't really avoid her because of VPs. A-loggers are like big parts of her chat too, but I hadn't seen much of her content. I didn't know she actually... It seems like she is kind of a... Even though she's an A-logger, it's kind of like Dead Man, where she gets involved pretty heavily as well, but I don't know. Yeah, the parts of the struggle session I watched were kind of interesting, and then all of a sudden there was just people that I didn't have any idea who they were, and then they brought that... what's that guy's name? The black guy? What is his name? Sonny Waffles came in, and that was he's like, "Oh yeah, Grace, I'll take care of it. I'll hook up this whole trip." And he had zero. He had no ideas. He had nothing. You missed the dancing stick figures? I'm sorry, man. Maybe I can find some random footage of people using that same software or something. All right, let's get into it with let's get into Sightings here. Again, I don't think we've seen these, but I don't know. We're just gonna watch them from here. I dreamed I've had two dreams in like the last couple weeks, which is crazy because normally I have it's just nothing, void until I wake up. But I had the weirdest dream that I went to a court case between Ruby and Grace. It was really weird.
this edition of Sightings. For Raynell and Terry Wallace, a second
Digital arts and
became a
crafts
hellish
projects.
nightmare.
When I got sucked out onto the wing pin, my whole body was completely on fire.
Now, their miraculous story of life and death. Why is the government quietly buying land around its most secret military base?
Everyone's heard of Area 51 now because
Why
they
he
took
should
this
die?
bullet
I got the
action.
wrong. Okay.
Then, something is happening on this old Nebraska farm that residents can't explain.
Every time we seem to put an animal in there, they die.
There's something in the air over the Holy Land, and investigators feel it's not of this world.
The soil appeared to be melting, and there is no explanation.
Oh, remember this guy?
Does not occur in nature.
And scientific evidence that could prove werewolves are real.
Oh shit, werewolves? I don't think we, or at least I haven't seen this one. I think I would for sure remember werewolves, wouldn't I? Grace doesn't like my content, get real. She likes my content about her. She doesn't like my typical content.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. At the turn of the
This is all
century,
Gen
going
X
to the poor farm
shit.
was more than just an expression. It was
She gets,
a real
speaking of
place
feeding, she gets
where
force-fed
destitute
enough of that
families,
at
the sick
home.
and the mentally ill were given shelter. Some of the old poor farms
Great,
still
just what
exist
we
today,
needed.
mostly as tourist attractions. One of them in rural Nebraska was turned into a private home. And every family who's lived there tells the same story. The farm is haunted.
Stop smoking 2 to 3 hours before bed. I don't want dreams.
Perched on a
Stop
windy Nebraska
smoking.
hillside, this homestead is one of the few remaining landmarks of the great land rush of the
Oh,
late
wow,
1800s,
Daninsky.
and its inevitable result. An underclass of poor and needy pioneers whose American dream had turned sour. It was built in 1884 as a poor farm, and for 56 years, it was a temporary home for more than 400 people who lived and worked here.
Do you think even if you were there, like, do you ever think you could really... I don't know. I just wonder what it's like when the cameras are off.
Tramps came when they had frozen feet. Old
Professor
people came
Eric
when they had no place to
Monkanen.
retire.
Okay, when I worked a retail job one time. I think it was maybe at Staples, and some guy called in and his name was like Monkeyan or something like that, and I put his name on the hold item as Monkeyan, like monkeying around, and he got really upset about it.
People came in when they were
I feel like
sick.
that was a
Often they came to the
Sightings
poor farm to die.
thumbs
In
up to me.
1940, the poor farm was shut down and sold off.
Bump up the audio,
Among
yeah.
its early tenants was Jerry Clausen, who first
How's
rented
that?
the property in 1960 when her son, Stan, was just 7 years old. As soon as the Clausens settled into the main house, they felt an eerie sense that they were not alone.
We could be sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden we'd look, and there was a dark shadow
Jerry Clausen, heir to the Clausen pickle fortune.
peeking around the doorway like somebody was there looking at us, you know, and it'd be there for just a few
Tim
seconds,
White?
and we'd get up and go look, and there was nothing there.
The things that happened out here, those are things that live with you forever. You don't forget them.
The haunting activity seemed worse at
Yeah,
night.
you just have to remind me
Jerry's
sometimes, because whenever I do certain clipping, I fuck with the audio.
3 children would not venture outside. Inside, they would not be alone in any
Oh, your
one room,
preview.
even
Uh-oh,
for a
a
second.
hidden Daninsky
A strange
channel.
and frightening presence was disrupting their lives.
Sometimes we'd hear a car like out in that little lane and running out there, but we'd look out, there was no car to be seen. Out in the barn, the lights would go on for no reason at all because we never used the barn.
And the light would come on, and then after a little while, the light would go back off again. Like somebody was just standing there flicking the switch on, flicking the switch off.
And the kids would say, Mom, aren't you going to go down and see why that light is going to? It scared them. I said, there's no way I'll go down to that barn.
Mm-mm.
Never went.
Stan the farm man
After only
heart.
8 months, the Clausens moved out. They were the last in a long string of tenants who had come but not settled into the old poor farm. The property
Oh, I
sat
meant to tell
vacant
you
for the
guys,
next 30 years.
If you guys have HBO Max or you do whatever to watch whatever you want to watch, there's a show on HBO Max right now that's called Neighbors. It's legit just a bunch of Boit people, like, doing Boit things. And there's, like, a wide variety of shit going on. Like, there's a two homesteaders are feuding. One of them is like a TikTok guy. And then there's also like a story about a woman that's like battling homeowners over like beachfront access and stuff like that. But it's just straight up Boyd drama. It's really good. It's really interesting anyway.
The main house was condemned, then demolished. The old barn
Tim White was an Air
overtaken
Force
by weeds.
bullshit.
Then, in 1989, Kathy and Ray Drawbridge bought the decaying property. They were disenchanted city
This guy's name is Drawbridge.
dwellers who wanted to bring up their daughter, Sarah, in a rural environment. To them, the dilapidated poor farm didn't seem to have any problems a lot of sweat and a new coat of paint couldn't cure.
The real estate man on the way just mentioned
Kathy
that
Drawbridge.
it had been an old poor farm, and we didn't think anything of it. We didn't know what that was. We just made a joke out of it.
I mean, with a name like that, isn't it kind of a no-brainer that you would have a castle?
Thought it was a good place for us.
Working weekends.
Wow, what
Made a
look
joke
at
out
this.
of it. Thought it was a good place for us.
Working weekends, Kathy and Ray spent 2 years
Working
clearing the
for
land and
the
renovating the old
drawbridge.
buildings. They experienced some haunting activity then, but dismissed it as the product of their overactive imagination.
Oh, I never thought
It
about
wasn't
that.
until
Do you think they're changing their names to protect them? From whom? Who's going to be like, hey, listen, I'm going to go get those fuckers out on that farm in 1993?
They assembled a modular home on the foundations of the old Poor Farms infirmary that the ghostly incidents became impossible to ignore.
When we go into the buildings, we would get the door slamming shut, feelings of being watched, strong enough that you'd actually leave the building to see if someone had pulled in.
It was the same ghostly car crunching on the gravel that Jerry Clausen remembered hearing 30 years ago.
It is so real sounding. I have even gone out onto the porch thinking that maybe it's on the road and I'm just not
If
seeing
I'm
it.
ever in anything and they ask me to give a name, I'm going to tell them Ben Thorpe.
The isolated incidents were curious, but not particularly threatening. Then, when
Ben
the family
Thorpe.
moved in for good, things changed.
We'd come home from work and the thermostat would be on full all the way up. The house would just be cooking. At first we blamed our daughter, but it was
Olive
happening
Branch.
several days in a row.
Moat?
The back door would be locked, the house would be secure.
Kathy
When we'd go to
Moat.
work, we'd come home, the back door would still be locked, but it'd be swinging open.
The haunting activity
my
escalated,
husband,
and Kathy
Roger,
claims it took a destructive turn
out
when
of
Ray was
oil.
attacked by an unseen force.
Remember they used to
while trying
dump the
clear some
oil?
brush.
God, that would be
He
a
was a little
nightmare.
frustrated by then and started doing a little cussing and got a little agitated. And he suddenly bent over with a sharp pain
What's
in
up,
his
G?
side.
Thanks.
When he looked down, Ray found an L-shaped tear in his brand new shirt.
The next day at work, my husband doubled over in pain. He
Mm.
went,
Were you guys online last night during when YouTube went down? I thought for sure I was like, oh my god, did VP get drunk or something and strike my channel? Because I couldn't even sign in, like I couldn't do anything.
to the doctors. They did an x-ray and they saw
Clarence,
something
good
on his
vibes.
side. Told him it was a kidney stone to go home.
Clarence,
a couple days
real
later, he was
Hebrews.
feeling better. He had to have another x-ray and it was gone.
Kathy came to believe that the ghosts of the past were somehow trying to reach out to the present. She began to research the Poor Farm's history, searching for clues to the identity of the haunting presence.
Caring for people. She was
Sightings asked paranormal investigator Peter James to visit the Drawbridge home and
I
give
don't
the
think
family
Clarence
his
bans
psychic
anybody.
impressions of the site.
He does
He was told
temporarily,
nothing of the
maybe.
property's history or the experiences of its many occupants.
I'm getting a sense that there is a
Oh
female.
my god, this guy snuck in on me or he'd have been in the fucking thumbnail. Yeah, something happened and like, I guess if you were in certain parts of it, like you could go into your, like YouTube Studio worked fine and then like you could go into your like your U page and see your history and stuff. But if you tried to go to the main page for the algorithm, like it just, it was all fucked up. You're online every night. Well, I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions.
In this house, and
Oh, also, I talked to Bethadone Clinic. I should have done this in the intro. I'm sorry. I talked to Bethadone Clinic, and she is on board. We're gonna start planning for episode 2, and then episode 3. Which episode 2 is of Criminal Drip is going to be Slender Man, and then episode 3 is going to be Grace Thorpe Fresh and Fit scam. and then Bethadone is going to take over. And then Bethadone's also going to open up her archive to me so that I can clip what I need just in case.
I have a feeling her name is Sarah. And I feel that she was very much in
You're
control.
hidden in the
and
chat,
very
yeah.
powerful female is what I feel. Along with her other domestic duties that she
The ghost of Herb Abrams.
Peter sensed that
Remember
Sarah
that
liked
page, The
warm
Ghost of Herb
family
Abrams?
feeling in the house.
And Sarah tells me, I'm not leaving. I'm not
Oh,
leaving.
we never
Peter did not
watched
know
that.
that
We
Sarah-
had an issue, an internet issue when we were going to watch The Ghost of Herb Abrams.
Sarah had already made her presence known to the family.
One night, my husband and I were sitting.
Oh, and also, so Bethadone wanted to do an episode where instead of me asking her questions, she wanted to ask me questions. So she's going to ask me questions about Grace. So if you want her to ask me something, go to her chat or comment on her page or something if there's something you want her to ask. Because it's probably going to be the only time in Criminal Drip where it's going to be that way.
Sitting watching the evening news, and all of
Yo,
a sudden
why-
he glanced towards the hallway and turned back and immediately got goosebumps and was like, oh my God, there's someone in the bedroom. The vision he saw was
Am I
so
creating
real, so
OnlyFans
clear of a
content with
woman.
Buffalo Beth? No.
Peter also felt a strong
She's got a
ghostly
boyfriend,
presence in the
Beninsky.
farm's old subterranean ice house. This is where the dead were prepared for burial.
Oh, shit.
There was also a cook that...
Look at that jacket.
Do you know if there was a person of color here?
Yes.
Kathy compared
What? Whoa. So he wants to know if there was a person of color there.
Peter's psychic impressions with the historical information she had already collected. There were
Haunted
two
by a
Sarahs,
black ghost.
but neither was a cook. Then Kathy remembered a letter she'd received from the farm supervisor's son. He wrote of his fond childhood memories of a cook who lived on the farm for many years.
Well, Clarence is delusional.
She was
he
very
thinks you're
close to the family.
praising him when you say
She was
that
a slave
weird
when
shit
she
to
was
him.
12 years old, so she told them. And she helped in the kitchen until she got too old. They called her Auntie. Auntie had her own bedroom on
Irwin
the main floor close
Bartley.
to the kitchen, and that is where she
Auntie
died.
Hickman.
Auntie's real name was
Let's
the
get a look
main
at some of
floor
these other
close to the-
names on here. Elmer Pakal, son. Died Haddock. Dead Headlock. Deed Headlock. Irwin Birthday. Auntie Hickman. Longbread Hedrill. Guy from Among Us, Peach Alson. Claire Mallard. That's an interesting name, Mallard.
Kitchen, and that is where she died.
Race baiting
Auntie's
psychic. Yeah.
real name was Sarah.
There it is.
Clarence's
It's right
ancestor,
here on her card.
wow.
You know, that's her first name or given name was
I
Sarah.
mean,
and she's
it's
like,
up to
"This is
Beth if she wants to. I just don't understand the appeal of it, but Beth thinks that everyone is a good person. Like, so, I mean, I can kind of see her trying it. Oh, thank you, Humble King. It's me. $1.99 Ash Wednesday funds. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
it. It just clicked. You know, this is her.
Peter was also drawn to the old stable.
$1.99,
He didn't know
which,
that
if you convert it into bullying money, is actually $10.
in this last
So thank you,
doorway,
buddy. I
the
appreciate
family
it.
had already experienced a terrifying encounter of their own, and yet this is where Peter stopped.
You had a family. Hold on, I got to read this. I had a family member bought a house that was a former colored Civil War era hospital. Are you allowed to say that?
Here,
Can you say A?
here I'm getting a lot of resistance. Here, I'm getting, like, I shouldn't go in there, but I'm getting a lot of resistance here. Listen. Hello? Who's here?
It was here that Sarah and Kathy had seen the shadows of a tall man.
This
Ben
person
Thornton.
died within this vicinity.
How
Was
old was
someone
Ben
who was
during
very
this?
aggressive and very forceful, and the others tried to separate him from the rest.
The corner always seems dark, and every time we seem to put an animal in there, they die. We use it for storage. I mean, I got tired of washing the blood off the walls.
What?
Time after time, Peter's impressions matched known
What
history.
does that mean? She got tired of washing the blood off the walls. So I get it if you put an animal in there and they die, but how are they dying that blood is spraying all over the walls and shit? I don't understand that.
Whoa! It all
Oh my God.
Also feels like
Peter's impressions matched known history.
Whoa.
it also feels like there might have been maybe a temporary.
Did you see Kevin Nash got in trouble, Daninsky, because he said he thought that Javon Evans was too much Mr. Bojangles, and he thought that he could be more urban.
Burial ground back here somewhere. They may have at one time buried the deceased and then dug him up and moved him.
The next day, Kathy showed Sightings these pictures. The farm's burial ground had been only a few yards away from where Peter was standing. The graves had been empty since 1955,
Oh, the werewolf.
when the state had moved all the remains to a mass plot in a municipal cemetery.
I feel that an entire family of about 7 people in particular lost their lives here some time
Chupacabra?
ago. And it feels like they were stricken their lives here some time ago. And
Look
it
at him
feels
subtly
like they were
flipping the
stricken
bird.
with
Fake books, by the way. I think these are 100% fake books. Remember Shanna that didn't have any books in her bookshelf?
either cholera or typhus or typhoid.
In the old
I
registry,
saw that.
Kathy pointed out that in 1890...
I also saw his post about how he was the most in shape guy, and it's like, dude, you were a jobber back in the day. Like, no shade on Val Venus, he was a fun character, but like your biggest feud was against Taka Michinoku, and you're talking about they should bring you back for what you're definitely AEW. There's zero chance they would bring him back. I mean, if they want to bring him back for like a Legends night, have him come out and like say hi or whatever, but I mean, there's no way he's going into like the Hall of Fame or anything, or that people are clamoring for a Val Venus return.
Before the entire Underwood family died of typhoid in the old infirmary.
Actually, it was mother, father,
Yeah, I agree.
2 daughters and a
Daninsky.
son. So it was very close.
Despite their
I think Jeremy
experiences,
brought
the
that up,
Drawbridge
didn't he?
family continues to restore the
The
old
old
poor farm and
farm.
share its rich
Hey,
history
come by
with
to the
others.
petting zoo.
Peter
Watch out
James
for the
believes
blood all
this
over
will
the place.
please the spirits.
That big ass
Our
chicken.
theory is
Others, Peter James believes this will please the spirits.
our theory is that the farm is actually starting to come back to life. There's no way I'd leave. I feel total responsibility.
Uh-oh, I think we found the cause of the problem. Remember
to the
this guy
people.
from that movie,
There's
The
no
Witch?
way I'd leave. I feel total
What
responsibility
was that goat's name?
to
Black
the people who lived
something?
here and the land.
Black.
During Peter James's tour, Kathy Drawbridge took notes on Peter's psychic impressions.
Yeah, that
She
was
has
his
since
biggest
researched
moment.
many of the names and descriptions Peter felt in the house and on the farm. Through state and county records, Kathy has confirmed the actual existence of many of the people.
Do you guys
that
remember
Peter...
how furious Billy Jack Haynes was when he was talking about the Val Venus gimmick? He's like, I went to the show and it said Val Venus, Venus, penis. I was so upset.
claimed to be in spiritual
saying
contact
penis.
with during his investigation.
Next, whatever
Black
landed
Phillip.
on Israel's Shikmona Beach left behind some very peculiar evidence.
To my astonishment, the soil appeared to be melting.
The Witch would be a great watch for this chat. We could have a good time with that movie.
On a previous edition of Sightings, we brought you the story of 3 women in Israel, all of whom claim to have had contact with an extraterrestrial being.
Israeli
Sightings
UFOs.
investigated evidence at the scene, including crop circles and mysterious silicon shards. And the investigative team learned that this was not the only case in which physical evidence could be found after a UFO sighting in the Holy Land.
ladies.
In the annals of modern UFO
Peter
hotspots,
James is a Gold
Israel
Dome
has been a
expert.
blank page.
When I researched my book, the only public mention of UFOs that I found were from 1952, from Haifa. There were 2 sightings. That is all I could find until Shikmona.
Mary Chamish is an author and journalist
Whoa.
who has written about a recent rash of UFO sightings.
What were those,
Chamish
dude?
is an
Oh
author
my
and
God,
journalist
imagine
who
how
has
cool
written
that
about
would be.
a recent rash of UFO sightings
Imagine
and encounters.
clapping a trad
that began
girl in one of
suddenly,
these
who has
weird,
written about a recent rash of
deep sea
Mary
diving
Chamish is an
pods.
author and journalist who has written about a recent rash of UFO sightings and encounters that began suddenly in 1987.
So this is what
This
my
is
tax
on the
dollars
evening of
are
Rosh Hashanah in 1987.
Building cool
Ami
pods.
Afrai is returning home
The
from
weird
Tel Aviv,
puppet butler,
whose
yeah.
home in
Ghost
Kiryat Bialik,
chase.
near Haifa. There is a beach called Shikmona, just before the city of Haifa. He sees a red
I got
object
banned on Twitch for showing
fly into the air, hover, dip.
Underneath there was a red glowing spot about 1.5 meters in diameter. There were immense flashlights, and there was a very loud noise, a whirlpool, as if a helicopter was going to
Looking like a
crash.
nutsack.
He stops his car, gets out of the car, sees the object return, and there is a huge flash.
It suddenly disappeared. Only a big red spot remained, and in a second, it leaped into the sky and vanished.
Ami was shaken by the inexplicable UFO encounter. He tried to put it behind him, to dismiss it as an asteroid or a comet, but something drew him back to the scene.
What's he doing?
And in the daylight, he found concrete remnants of his experience.
Imagine intense heat burning sand and vegetation in the shape of a UFO. Inscribed in the right-hand corner, a clear-cut picture of an astronaut in front of the dashboard.
Not only was there an indelible image in the sand, testing at the site revealed the ground itself had taken on unusual properties.
The land was
Scare tactics. I don't think I remember
671%
that one.
more magnetic than
Avi
usual
Grief.
land.
At the request of Sightings, soil samples were taken from the scorched earth at Shikmona Beach for a detailed analysis by biophysicist W.C. Levengood. His
Oh boy,
findings confirmed
Levengood's
that the
back.
ground had new characteristics.
One was sort of astounded by the tremendous change in the ratios of the elements. For example, ordinary zinc was increased 104 times, whereas our other elements stayed absolutely the same.
But that finding paled in comparison to what Dr. Levengood found while he was preparing to take a photomicrograph of the soil sample.
As I was adjusting the camera to get the photograph, to my astonishment, the soil appeared to be melting. What I found
Well,
here
unfortunately, they have an official channel, so I'm guessing probably they are probably like enforcing the copyright. But I can grab one and I can run it through copyright and see.
that there was a coating on the soil of a very low melting material. I have consulted with a geophysicist, and there is no explanation. This does not occur in nature. There's no natural way that this amount of hydrocarbon would be on the soil.
This guy makes
5
bank
months
from
after
sightings.
the
He's
Shikmona
on
Beach
all the
sighting,
time.
just 1 mile away in the city of Haifa, Rosetta Kalfan and her family spotted bizarre lights in the sky. They were able to film the UFO with a home movie camera.
We were chatting, and suddenly
Rosetta
my sister looked
Kalfan.
up towards the window and saw a glittering light in the air. I got up quickly, and we both rushed over to the window. I told her, "Do you know what that is? That is a UFO."
The light was golden, like nothing I've
Oh
ever
my
seen
God!
in my
Can you
life.
imagine
A real
if Eric McHenry saw
light
this?
beam, raisin.
Oh man, look at this thing. He could open that up and store different items inside of there. Menachem Kalfan.
Like nothing I've ever seen in my life. A real light beam radiating out from it. It was shocking, truly shocking.
There was a UFO that stayed there 17 minutes over the sea and then disappeared very quickly until it became small as a star.
You see windows, and this is possibly the most outstanding feature. And certainly in the film, you'll see that at the beginning, Rafi Malka is clever enough to get background. There's no mistaking this as part of the features of the hill or the Haifa area. It's not a natural feature. It's certainly dangling in the air. It moves, it has lights, and it was witnessed by experts. I believe that it was a tremendously documented UFO.
2 years later, in 1991, Yossi Ben Maas was leaving his real estate business in Haifa for his home in nearby Beit Shan. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he was nearly blinded by a brilliant shaft of light.
There was a huge sheet of light. It was
Yosai
right before
Ben
my
Mas.
eyes. It was spectacular. It was a very calming light, but I was afraid it would go to Beit Shan, where my friends and family are. So all of a sudden, it changes course, as if it was reading my mind, a kind of telepathy between us.
Yossi immediately called the Beit Shan Police Department.
Chief of Police, Yitzchak Mordechai is awoken at 3 in the morning, goes outside.
They're hold on a second. They're calling and waking up the police chief at 3 a.m. for a UFO sighting. Huh?
An enormous object in the air.
It looked a little bit like a boomerang,
Yitzhak
but it was a shape
Mordechai.
that I never saw before. It had a unique power and color, a special glow which was very different from anything I saw before. I didn't know how to react.
He radios in to headquarters, calls the Air Force.
First call,
says,
police
"This is what I
chief.
got."
Second call,
They asked for
Yakov
the exact
Smirnov.
location of the object. I gave them the location, and they couldn't find the object on the radar.
Because of Beit Shan's close proximity to the Jordanian border, the Israeli Defense Forces sent 300 troops into the area to track the unidentified craft.
It was dragging a convoy of armed
Public
men
safety
for
concern?
3
What's he
hours
gonna do about
on
it?
a trail
Pray?
up to the Jordanian border, which is a
Put a
very
note
sensitive
in the
place,
Wailing
but
Wall?
it seems to know where the Jordanian border is and heads back. At 5:45 in the morning,
Something's
in
flying
broad
over
daylight,
from the
disappeared in a
Jordanian side.
flash.
Chamish has developed a controversial theory that these 3 UFO sightings are part of a pattern dating back to biblical times.
People who have been studying UFOs seriously around the world have
Seriously.
reached the consensus that the Bible is a convincing UFO story. I came to the same conclusion that the Old Testament, from the pillar, the cloud that led the Hebrews out of Egypt, that glowed at night and
Is he
stopped the
critical of?
Egyptians,
Oh yeah, he is. He's the
all the way through the
Palestine. I forgot.
prophets, were in fact UFO related.
Chamish also believes that stories of alien abductions in Kadima, as reported previously on sightings, are also part of the centuries-old pattern.
Shikmona, they were announcing in black and white, "We are here." At Beit Shan, they're saying, "All right, now we've got 500-600 of you seeing us, and you can shoot at us if you want to."
Why didn't the dome just shoot it down?
Kadima was stage 3. We want to meet you.
And stage 4, according to Chamish, is foretold in a prophetic
Oh no, we
passage
have the
from
gold dome. They have the iron dome.
From Kedem, they shall go up to Jerusalem. In other words, Kadima is the next hop towards the revelation of the UFOs in Jerusalem.
The investigation in Israel is ongoing. A sightings team is now following up on late reports of activity in the town of Yatzitz on the Mediterranean Sea. An eyewitness there claims that he has evidence of UFO contact in the form of mysterious footprints. Sightings will bring you more on this story
Alien
after
Bin
the
Laden.
investigation is complete.
Next, what the U.S. military is doing to keep Area 51 a secret.
If you cross here, they can kill you.
And how medical science explains werewolves.
Oh boy. Shit smear, UFO driver, ground
Here are some of the
burner,
stories Sightings is
farm
following in the
hunter.
news. According to the
He
U.S.
can do this,
government,
Jack.
Area
He can-
51,
he can use his
super
spirit
secret
to
military
haunt
testing
a
ground, does
homestead.
not
He
exist.
can do this?
But they're buying up all the land around it anyway.
They're getting to, yeah, true.
Since the 1950s, the United States Air Force has allegedly operated a top-secret military testing facility in this dry lake bed in the southern Nevada desert. Codenamed Area 51.
Remind me and we'll
Dreamland,
watch
the
Hannibal's
base has
latest
long been
UFO
rumored to
video
be a
after we're
center
done
for
with
Black
sightings.
Project research. Now, the U.S. government has begun seizing all the land around a base that does not officially exist. It is a paradox that has not escaped the attention of dedicated ufologists.
This withdrawal was intended to obscure the secret base. In fact, it had the opposite effect. Everyone's heard of Area 51 now.
Yeah, and it looks like something they would have made to promote Jeff Jarrett in Memphis, so I appreciate it. But not as they intended it to be. It was very funny. Like, I thought yeah, it definitely seemed like something they would have had back in the Memphis days.
Because they took this public action.
Glenn
What's up,
Campbell
Brandy?
is a
I
self-described
gotta go get
Area
a
51
pipe cleaner.
activist and government watchdog. He believes the military has initiated the purchase of land where civilians have taken unauthorized photographs.
Freedom Ridge and Whitesides were places where the average citizen could go up and see this non-existent facility. It's 13 miles away. You can't make out a lot of detail, but you can see hangars. You can see the longest runway in the world. The reason they gave for this withdrawal is they needed it for the public safety. They said they needed it to keep people from being hit by airplanes up there, which was plainly ridiculous.
And as the outside perimeter of Area 51 widens, so does the facility's mysterious security net. When Glenn Campbell led a sightings
Dutch
investigative
Mantel.
team to the new boundary, one of the infamous white Jeep Cherokees driven by men in camouflage fatigues appeared on the ridge.
Okay, we're at the new border, Whitesides Mountain. You used to be able to drive
They
up.
should have, like, AEW should have somebody, like, recreate that video. I don't think WWE would do it, but I'm sure some indie company will do it. That's a perfect video to, like, spoof in a wrestling scenario.
all the way up this road another mile, and then another mile hike to the top of that peak where you had a very clear and simple view of the base. We've got the same new signs here. If you cross here, they can kill you.
Are werewolves real? At Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas.
Like, that was my favorite part of the
geneticist
Super Bowl stuff, them putting on that weird halftime show, is that a bunch of conservatives clapped for him saying, "All my heroes at the methadone clinic." And then I was hopeful that people would think he said Bethadone, not methadone, and it would help her. But still, seeing them all cheer him praising drug addicts is pretty awesome.
may have found part of the answer. The legendary image of the werewolf has some basis.
Like the
in medical
Outrunners
fact.
in AEW, they could do it.
Researchers have isolated the gene responsible for a rare condition called congenital generalized hypertrichosis, causing excessive hair growth on the face and torso.
How you doing,
While
Randy?
this condition may have sparked ancient accounts of werewolves, modern researchers see CGH as a possible cure for baldness.
Well, let's be real. Why wait for the pros? Why don't we get this reenacted with King TL and Jeremy? That would definitely get a few views.
1 year ago,
oh
a
boy,
white
Native
buffalo
Americans.
was born in the small farming community of Janesville, Wisconsin. Many Native Americans believe the birth is the fulfillment of an ancient
Ooh, the
prophecy,
White Buffalo. Remember that
signaling a
movie
new
with
age of global harmony.
Charles
The
Bronson?
last time she came, she showed herself around 600
Floyd
years ago.
Hand looks for buffalo.
Floyd Hand is...
That's kind of a
She showed her-
very specific name for a guy that's looking for a buffalo, right? Or do you get to pick your name? Floyd Hand looks for buffalo. Lakota Sioux medicine man.
Herself around 600 years ago.
Floyd Hand is a Lakota Sioux medicine man
Oh, PC
whose
Dog.
Indian name is Looks for Buffalo.
We're watching Sightings, and then I'm going to come back in the afternoon and do a quick Luke West stream. I really want to listen to that message, that phone message from April.
According to legend, in order for the prophecy of hope to come true, the white buffalo must change color. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what she
Chato's
did.
Land is good.
They come with disbelief on their face.
Whoa, Rutger Hauer.
But when they leave,
What's the name of that movie? What's the thing that the conspiracy people are always talking about in the Middle East? It's not the. I thought of it when you said white buffalo. The I want to say red heifer, but I can't. I couldn't have got it right the first time.
they leave with not what they see.
I remember one time Keemstar was having like a full-on meltdown on Lolcow Live, like 2 years ago, over the red heifer.
But they take something inside them. She changed an awful lot of lives. She made an awful lot of people happy. She was sent here to bring everyone together. And I guess if you want to say 60,000 people coming up here to see one little furred animal, she's doing her job.
Despite the commercial potential of thousands of visitors to the farm,
Floyd
the hikers
Hand
aren't
looks for,
interested in reaping any
for
material
Buffalo
benefits.
Beth. Is that what you're saying?
You'll meet people walking up the driveway here that'll recognize who we are, or they'll ask if we're the owners. They'll shake your hand, just say thank you, nod their head, and walk by.
I came out here looking for the white buffalo.
How much richer can you get to
Instead,
that?
it was just tears in the wind.
We'll have more stories from the news next time.
Short.
Now, here's
We got
what's coming
shorted
up
on that
on
white
Sightings.
buffalo story.
Raynell Wallace went through hell and wound up in heaven.
For the first time, I was feeling love.
And these high school students are demanding the government tell the truth about Roswell.
They're covering up stuff that we want to know about. I don't think it's right.
Can somebody look up what year that TV show Roswell was on?
In 1985, Ronell and Terry Wallace were in a near-fatal plane crash that changed
Have
their
you
lives
guys seen very many
forever.
of Rutger Hauer's
Ronell's
movies? I think he was Swedish. He made a bunch of movies with Paul Verhoeven, who's like probably my favorite director of all time.
body was badly burned, but as she chronicles in her book, the real change in Ronell was not physical. Sightings correspondent Carla Wall reports that Ronell Wallace was transformed.
This
not by
has
the
a shit ton of stories in it. Wow.
flames that engulfed her airplane, but by
Oh,
spiritual
99.
burning
Yeah, that
within.
doesn't. That's not it then. I thought maybe those youths were interested because of the show.
The skies over
Oh, I thought it said Curtis Armstrong, Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
The skies over central Utah were anything but
Hey,
foreboding
well,
on the morning
just
of
wait,
October
Daninsky.
9th, 1985. Terry and Ronell Wallace were preparing to board their single-engine Beach Bonanza for a short
Beach
15-minute
Bonanza?
flight.
Was that a
The trip was part
UWF
of a
pay-per-view?
second honeymoon, an adventure they hoped would put the spark back in a failing marriage. Ronell was committed to the...
How does that work? Like, how do you get a spark back? I don't understand. Like, even if you go on vacation and you're in this nice tropical place, is the hope that, like, you'll fuck a bunch while you're there and bond, and then that'll carry you through the misery that you've been going through for years before the vacation?
the flight, despite a series of eerie premonitions.
He says it's just a short flight. We'll rent a car and drive home. What can happen in 15 minutes?
10 minutes into the flight, Ronell's question was answered. A violent storm blew in and the plane crashed into a snow-shrouded mountain. It was an accident that could have been avoided if Ronell had heeded her inner voice. When you say you didn't want to go on the trip, was it a premonition that something bad would happen? Was it a chill down your spine? What was it that...
Flesh and Blood
that
is
made you not wanna go?
fantastic. Yes,
it was a
for
small
sure.
whispering, and I think that's how they come.
I think he was in,
You know, I think the spirit
called
within us
Soldier
comes
of
in small
Orange.
whisperings. I had had a vision the night before. It was real clear. It was real.
There's another weird movie, too, by... I think it was by Verhoeven, but it's definitely got Rutger Hauer in it. But it's like a bunch of guys on, like, dirt bikes and shit, or, like, you know... I don't know what you call a motorcycle that's not like a Harley, like one of those speed motorcycles. It was they were into some kind of motorsports, and they all measured their dicks in front of the one girl in the group.
I woke up in the middle of the night.
I can't remember what the name of the movie
It was
is,
what
though.
was going to happen the very next day. And I woke up in
Have
a
a child.
sweat, and I sat up, and Terry was
Yeah,
sound
Rutger
asleep, and
Hauer looked hilarious in
I
that.
started getting very panicky, and I woke him up, and I said, Terry, wake up.
OPC Don often looks like he's one of the people who would have been dropped on that island.
Promise me no matter what happens tomorrow, we're not going to get back in that plane.
I
right?
love surviving
I think
the
she
game.
heard the voices, but she didn't pay much heed in it because, I mean, yeah, we're gonna be in a plane crash. Look, it's a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky, and we're heading out. So, I mean, when it started, there was no real reason for concern.
It's like on 90 Day Fiancé, the people will be like, I don't understand it. I met this person and we were in paradise and we were just having sex and fucking everywhere and no cares, no worries because I was on vacation and they worked at the resort. And then whenever we had to make it work day to day, it was a problem. It's like, well, no shit. Anybody can get along like on a fucking vacation.
Agreed to make the flight from Delta to Provo, Utah, where Terry promised they could rent a car and drive the rest of the way
Yeah, the
home.
hitcher's great.
But then there was another warning. Before you even left the hotel clerk said something
Blade
to you.
Runner,
What did she say?
of course.
Yeah, we checked out. We went to the front desk. I started talking to her, and she says, "You're not going to fly today, are you?" And I says, "Well, yeah, we're just making a short flight." And she says,
He's like a
I
serial
really don't
killer.
like the thought of you guys getting in that plane. She goes, I just have this feeling. I just rather you didn't go. I'll drive you. And I thought, no, don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. We're just going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Despite this unsettling premonition from a concerned stranger, the Wallaces took off. At first, it seemed like a perfect day for flying.
All of a sudden, the clouds came down and went all the way down to the ground.
Huh?
And it was though someone had taken a white sheet and just wrapped it tightly around the cockpit.
And the whole area just became like a just massive fog in front of our face. It's like fingers of clouds just came down in to almost zero visibility.
And I said, Terry, the ground, it's coming up. The whole
Terry,
horizon was
the
coming right up
ground.
at us. And I started screaming, the ground is coming up, it's coming up.
And then all of a sudden the mountain was there, and that's when I just pulled back up, and she started screaming, the ground, the ground.
Quickly, Terry, right before we nosed into the mountain, pulled up on the steering column, which caused us to belly flop against the mountain. We then started skipping.
Oh yeah, Blind Fury.
You know,
what was
like
the
a
other one that
stone
went with
on water
Blind
against
Fury?
the mountain.
Was it Super Fuzz that was kind of that? I think there was like a DVD 2-pack I always remember seeing that was, I think, was those two movies.
As we did, parts of the plane started flying all over the place. The sparks were coming out on the wingtips. I started to cry. I said, please, forgive me for everything I've done.
Oh,
take care of my kids. Just take care
Boy,
of my
God
kids.
crashing her into a mountain and she's
When I got
apologizing.
sucked out onto the wingtip, I was completely engulfed in flames. My whole body was completely on fire.
Rennell lay immobile on the frozen wreckage. Miraculously, Terry escaped with only burned hands.
You think
At the
about
moment of impact,
1984?
Terry recalls his own supernatural vision.
I saw what was like a strong, muscular hand that was translucent, whitish, goldish, transparent.
Listen to this premise. A reclusive Vietnam veteran who protects rare bald eagles on his island while a mountaineer powers Booth. Remember, he was great in the Van Damme ice skating movie. Is hired by an egg collector, played by Donald Pleasance, to steal the eggs, leading to conflict and a love triangle. Oh, it was directed by Philip Mora, who did some of the weirder Howling movies. And he made that weird musical with Christopher Lee. Ecological theme and a score by one of the Bee Gees. It's also known because infamous for having a missing reel of film during production.
Like, come like this, and I just felt peace and comfort from here that I wasn't going to get smashed.
As I looked over at the flame, Terry stood up inside the flame, and he grabbed an invisible hand, and he walked directly out of that flame across the wingtip. I looked up at him, amazed because he was unscathed. He says, where's the man that pulled me out, Rennell?
With
Egg
the threat
thief,
of certain
yeah.
death looming near, Terry knew he had to get Rennell off that mountain. It would be a 5-mile hike in zero visibility.
The skin of my hands were causing me a lot of pain. At one point, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just yanked both of them off, and I left them on the ground.
The skin.
He wants
So we
to
had
eat
to climb
an
the
eagle
barbed
egg.
wire fences, basically burnt
I must
barehanded
have
and
it.
ripped,
Power.
which is very difficult to do. And we managed to hike down that way. And was what was amazing to me is I felt led. I felt guided which way to go.
6 hours later, the Wallaces found a road which would turn out to be only 1 mile from
Is
the
this
nearest
the
hospital.
most sighting stories ever in an episode? I feel like this episode has been going on forever. We haven't even gotten to the werewolf stuff yet.
Terry flagged down a truck driver who radioed for an ambulance, but soon after it arrived, Rennell died.
And all of a sudden, I just let go. And at that moment, I felt peace. And it was quiet. And then in a quick moment, I was standing up. And as I looked, I could see these nurses all crowded around this gurney. I saw a hand fall off the gurney, and it was black and charcoal, and I realized whose hand that was. And then all of a sudden it came black. And the moment it came black, I started seeing colors rushing by me. And I realized that I was heading somewhere feet first. And I got very frightened. And I could hear voices talking next to me. And I quickly, in a quick flash, had a life review of my entire life. It was
Oh man, wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, that would be so cool to be able to see like the highlights. But like, I wonder though, who picks them? Like, God, is it God's favorite moments, or does God pick your favorite moments, or is it like decided by like the studio audience ahead, like of angels or whatever? I wonder if you can get any statistics, like how many nuts you've busted, or like how many grams of weed you've smoked.
all the way around me. And then quickly it got black again.
Oh,
and I
no
got
problem,
scared.
South to West.
I got really frightened. and I saw a beam of light coming toward me. And the moment that I looked upon that beam, there was this peace coming from this light. And quickly within that moment,
Jimmy
the
was
light
Jimmy's
pierced
hand.
right through my soul.
Give me your hand if you want to live. Period.
Directly through me, and I was now in it. And I felt all this peace and all this love. It was powerful.
A clip show.
Wow, this is great. It's
Do you guys have any moments that you know for sure would be on, like, from your perspective, if you were shown like a reel of your memories from your perspective, like, would there be some things you know would be on there? Like, I know for sure, like, Hogan slamming Andre would, like, a million% be on there.
so white. And as I started to look around in the white, I saw
Well, yeah, but it would be Boyd content of me. You know what I mean?
a woman coming from the distance moving toward me. As she moved toward me, she came and she stood in front of me. And she was beautiful.
Hopefully
she had
Ben
white
seems
hair.
relaxed.
She was wearing a white dress.
And comfortable.
She called out my name. She says, Renelle. Renelle, it's Grandma. Grandma? Yes, Renelle, it's me. She reached out her hand. Well, now wait a minute. It hit me. She had died 2 years before. Am I dead?
Do you think the apology is because Grace actually maybe was going to make some plans to go to the Midwest and now Ben's going to reel things back in again?
Ronell believed she was experiencing the rarest of all visions, her life after death. And in fact, as the vision enveloped her, Ronell Wallace was declared clinically dead.
Next, Raynell's incredible meeting and message from the afterlife.
She started to whisper, please go back and tell everybody the key is love.
The day of their near-fatal plane crash, Terry and Ronell Wallace were forced to ignore
You think
the
so, Hearts of
supernatural
Flowers?
signposts that should have kept them off that plane. After the crash, the paranormal chain of events
Ben buys all of his furniture at that same place that Rodney Dangerfield owned in Back to School that was for big and tall gentlemen.
continued. And as Carla Wall reports, they soon became impossible.
Ronell is a bit of a bullshit artist. But could you like, I'm just asking a question here. I'm not making any judgments or anything like that. Do you think that she's afforded a certain level of insulation from criticism because she went through such a traumatic ordeal? Like, the people don't want to really, like, point out how the inconsistencies in her story or whatever?
After her clinical death, Ronell Wallace believes she was guided into a life after death by the brilliant spirit of her grandmother. You said your grandmother had
Carla,
an important
whoa.
message for you, which was that your grandmother
Look at this,
had
very trad, very respectfully dressed. You could wear this pretty much anywhere and you'd be okay.
an important message for you, which was...
To go back and tell everybody the key is love.
What did she mean by that?
I learned that love was not just this emotion that you feel in your body. It is
Stevie,
natural
'cause
power
he's
that
real.
empowers your own soul and your own life. After everything she had said to me, at one point she turned to me and said, Ronell, it's time to go back. I said, no. For the first time, I was feeling love. All of my life, all I ever wanted to do, and I think all of us basically
I hope
want
I'm
this, is to be
greeted at
loved
the-
and accepted.
At
For
the
the first
Afterlife
time
by
in my
George
life, I was
Durunda.
feeling it. And doggone it, no one's going to take this away from me.
He'd be like, hey, Mark, welcome to hell. Got anything you want to say to the people at home? And then we'd we'd sample some terrible foods together. Some
Ronell
torturous
remembers that
foods.
she did not want to return to her physical body until she was shown a vision of her future on
I
Earth.
watched Problem Child and Problem Child 2. I don't remember if I reviewed them or not, though. I was pretty recently.
Saw a young man come from the distance. He was tall, he was dark-haired, blue-eyed, very handsome. And he was smiling. And he came and he stood in front of me. And he started to cry. And he said, Mom.
That's the good part about covering the Boyd, is if I do end up in hell, like all my favorite TV stars will be there too.
Why are you here?
36 mid pizza slices.
Nathaniel. He says, I need you, Mom. You have to go back. At that moment, as I looked into his eyes, I realized I needed to set my own selfish needs aside. I said, I promise you, Nathaniel, I'll give you your chance. I promise. I swear.
George would be like, listen, Mark, you got to get back. I'd be
She
like,
says,
no, no,
Renelle,
no.
go back.
I'm sticking around, pal.
And she started to let go of my hand. As she let go of my hand, she started to whisper, please go back and tell everybody the key is love. Renelle,
Endless Blues
the key
Brothers.
is love. The key is love. It was then that it got darker and darker and darker until I had come into this hollow body. And just before I came into it, I could see my hand off to the side of the bed. And then when my spirit had come into it,
Did you guys see that Facebook is got the patent now for using AI to keep your profile alive after you're dead, or if you take a break from social media, to continue to keep posting and even messaging people? It can even send voice calls and video calls. That's so bizarre. Like, the one thing we had that like nobody could really take from you was like you, right? Like, when, no matter what a great actor you are, when you died, like, that was it. I remember there was a pretty big uproar way back in the day when they started making a few commercials with some old, like, they started superimposing, like, I think it was Fred Astaire in a vacuum cleaner commercial or something, and people were like, this is like the worst thing ever. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but like, seeing how it's being implemented now, like, you're basically being turned into like an eternal slave, because they can make you hawk products to whoever online or whatever. That's so weird to me, even if you're dead.
absolutely couldn't stand it. It was an instant pain.
Renelle came back. The memory of the mysterious boy named Nathaniel, who had called her mom, haunted her.
I don't
and
have an
sustained her
issue.
through years of
I don't have an issue with them, with people who think about whatever to kind of, try to make sense or cope with why we're here. But at the same time, like, if you just like keep it to yourself, like, we've all only if you've got another life waiting for you after this one, like, focus on that. Like, leave me alone, leave other people alone, just because some of us actually value this life. But like, if you don't and you're only concerned about the next one, then just go there. Like, hurry up and get there.
excruciating physical
But I definitely understand wanting some kind of something.
recovery.
She was a very motivated person who became very goal-oriented.
There does need to be restrictions on AI. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know where you're at, but I don't think it's going to happen in America, because the Trump administration blocked it down for like 10 years, even at a state level. That's insane to me that if the federal government can tell a state something like that. I don't know if you know this, but like, different states have different privacy laws and stuff like that, as far as like how your social media is shared. So it's weird to me that a state can't regulate the AI for fucking 10 years.
And was sure that she was going to beat this, that she was not going to let this burn injury slow her down. We have guardian angels that watch over us and help us out whenever we are in need of help. And I'm sure that
Elvis
Renelle
selling a
had
new Ford F-150.
such assistance to be able to accomplish what she did.
If his estate says okay, like, you can feel ethically, however, but at least that kind of makes sense. And you have some people like, I read a story the other day that somebody like uploaded, the people that are like uploading their voices, and some people, Bruce Willis, I think, signed away the rights, like, that he could be replicated via AI for movies and stuff like that. Like, that makes sense, but like, bringing somebody's dead grandma back to life and then having them having her video call people. And I mean, it's not like they're going to be calling just to say hi, you know, they're going to be calling talking about whatever you looked at Amazon the day before.
Renelle invited me to accompany her to the
DMT
site of the plane
experience?
crash. After 10 years, painful memories
Did
of
I ever tell you about the guy that told me his DMT stories, why he couldn't party was because he took DMT and he spent he said like 5,000 years getting ground up in outer space by a giant rock tumbler. And I was like, okay, bro.
crash caught her by surprise.
It's so funny. I don't believe it just all coming back.
Isn't it crazy you could buy it
I
at
left
gas
myself up
stations
here.
at one point?
You left yourself up here. What do you mean?
Yeah. The old Renelle is buried still up on this mountain.
You started a new life here.
A new life. A complete new life. I've made my mistakes along the way, you know, with my new life. But there was a total rebirth.
Renelle survived her ordeal, and so did her marriage to Terry.
Somehow it fused us together. It's like the hands are both burnt. They're both fused together.
Let me
So
tell
when I
you,
was-
hey, this is not to glamorize drugs, okay? This is the opposite. I'm telling you this as wow, this is this is a terrible thing. I knew somebody, I was with somebody while they did a whippet, and it was somebody that hadn't done a lot of whippets. And whenever she did it, like, I don't know if you guys have ever tried it, but it's a very fleeting thing, like just really, really quick, like 10, 15 seconds and it's over. And like she knew that going in, and every once in a while you'll get like a critical hit and it'll last way longer. And she really started to panic that like she had permanently like fucked her brain, and she was like really flipping out.
Same matching mittens.
Not
People have
good.
their wedding rings.
That's
and
a
all
that's
that.
a cautionary tale, not an
They match.
entertainment
So what's happened is we
story.
kind of got fused.
Today, Renelle is living the lessons she believes were taught to her by the spirit of her grandmother.
Now you
And
feel
recently,
like a
the
jerk
mysterious
because you were
boy who
making
beckoned
fun
her
of
back
her
to
and
life
she's been
came
burned.
down to earth.
I mean, that's the name of the segment.
This is Nathaniel Wallace. He's 3 years old.
Remembering hearing my children's echoes down in the valley and thinking, that's why I lived. This is the reason.
It's been 10 years since the Wallace's fateful plane crash. In that time, Terry and Renelle have given hundreds of public lectures about the importance of listening to
Why
the
do
inner
you
voice.
well, like why do you
But
feel
Renelle and
bad?
Terry have also spent many
Like
private
if you're
hours
saying
in
like you wouldn't have made fun of her because she's burned, like that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, do you think she's, you know, do you think people don't want to call her story out because of that? But like, I don't think you should feel bad because you're saying like that you feel bad, you know, because of, you know, you didn't know. But I don't think you should feel bad because you didn't know. Like you had no way of, unless you were paying attention in any way whatsoever to any part of that story. I don't think you could have. I think you probably would have missed it. Like if you weren't, let me be clear, if you weren't watching or listening to that segment at all, I can understand that.
the country, comforting burn victims
But you shouldn't feel
as
bad.
only survivors can.
Next, these high school students
You
don't
died,
believe it
was
was a weather balloon
baptism,
that crashed in
baptized and
Roswell, New
reborn,
Mexico
not
50
religious
years
at all,
ago.
classic
And they're
experience.
doing something about it.
A grassroots movement is underway to get to the bottom of
Do
America's
people
watershed
still
UFO
do?
event.
Are you allowed
The
to do
supposed
galaxy
crash of a
gas on
flying
YouTube
saucer
now?
near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. The Roswell Declaration is a one-page petition
Oh
calling
my
for the
gosh.
declassification of any and
Wow,
all
Randy.
government documents relating to the Roswell incident.
Wouldn't
so
that be
far,
fun,
the
though?
declaration has over 12,000 signatures.
Like imagine when you first noticed that it happened, like, hey, what's going on here? And then like the rain droplets start like moving away from you, and you're parting all the rain. Then you're like, what's going on here? And then you look down, you're like, oh no.
signatures. 800 of those signatures were collected by high school students.
That's kind of part of the fun of edibles to me, is that you at least for me, because it can take like literally up to 2 hours for me. A lot of people say it's only like a half an hour, but it takes forever for me. And sometimes I'll just like forget about it, or I'll get impatient and take more, and then those are like depth charged for 2 hours later. And so I'll just kind of forget about it, and then all of a sudden like everything will like pivot, and just for that like split second where I don't know what's going on, I think that's like so Kino. That's like amazing.
In one small New Hampshire town. At first glance, you wouldn't think Londonderry, New Hampshire and Roswell, New Mexico shared anything in common.
Oh yeah,
Londonderry has the look of a Norman Rockwell painting, where people have deep roots and traditional American values. But the teenagers at Londonderry High School are linked to Roswell because of the unlikeliest of events.
What a
a
ride.
50-year-old UFO mystery that students here think is being covered up.
Students weren't really together as far as
Stephen
interest in
Juster,
school or friends came
Londonderry.
together because of this.
It started with an assignment in Stephen Juster's fiction class to try and obtain government documents through the Freedom of Information Act.
It feels like we live in America and where we have freedom.
This is
but we
actually
don't.
kind of neat that he's teaching them about FOIA and stuff like that.
They're taking that away from us. They're covering up stuff that we want to know about. I don't think it's right.
We talked about
The students wanted
Yeah.
information about the alleged UFO crash near
I
Roswell.
really like when if I take them like segmented apart, then like one of them will hit and then I'll kind of forget or get like, distracted. Then the other one comes in and just like crashes into that. I like that.
Well, New Mexico. They quickly discovered
Especially
that
if
the
it's, like,
official
different,
explanation for the incident didn't seem to
different kinds.
warrant the number of still classified documents the government refused to release to the students.
I think that the government is trying to hide something. I don't think it was a weather balloon.
Katie
I just
McNeil,
think
I'm
there are too
sorry,
many people
girl.
that saw
Terrible
it.
hair.
It seems to me that something incredible did happen. Something landed there that was
That's how a
obviously
lot of
bigger than
people are though when they never had them before. They'll be like, I don't think anything's happening, and the next thing you know, like they're just like they're sitting completely still in in their chair, and they all like so many. I've been around so many people who took them for the first time, and thought that like they needed to go to the hospital.
Just a weather balloon.
Can you imagine going to the hospital for that? I'm too high.
Whether it was aliens or not, I'm not really sure.
I thought it was really neat to maybe
High
try
school
and
running
get this
back to a guy.
uncovered, see if
Oh
it
my
really was
gosh.
an alien ship that landed or crashed, or if it was just something else and the government just didn't want us to
That's
know about
crazy,
it.
man.
When Stephen Juster saw that
Man,
Omni was
pages,
collecting
too.
signatures for a petition demanding the release of classified Roswell documents,
What do you think it was like?
he saw a fun and engaging teaching tool for his class, but the entire student body became involved.
We just kind of thought it was gonna just be our little class project, and that was it. Turned into a big thing. Yeah.
Eventually, the Roswell project grew beyond
He's
Juster's
like, the
class,
kids know I'm
beyond
cool
Londonderry
because
High
I
School,
watched
and
Twilight
into every
Zone.
high school in New Hampshire. In all, more than 800 signatures were collected.
The plan
A family
is
of
to
aliens
send
in
copies
Rhode
of them
Island.
to all the senators and to all the congressmen and to the president, and hopefully get the president to sign an act saying that this material is declassified.
I think if people catch on to what we've done and say, hey, a bunch of 18-year-olds made this much of a change.
I mean,
what
people
can-
really do
what
that.
can
That's
we do as
crazy
a
to
larger
me.
group?
Fucking
I
going to
think
the hospital over
if it
weed.
keeps snowballing the way it has, then things are definitely going to change, because what
Oh
can
my
the
gosh!
government do?
Speaking of accidental dosing, I think I've told this story before, but I had an old friend who said that he was hanging out one time with some people in a parking lot, and they were passing around joints, and somebody passed him one, and he hit it, and he found out after the fact it was laced with PCP.
They can't
Like, can you
ignore
imagine that hitting you
that
without you knowing that it's coming?
Kent Jeffrey, the author of the Roswell Declaration, plans to deliver the petition and a list of signatories to all members of Congress and to the White House. If you're interested in signing the petition,
Oh
copies
my
of the
God,
Roswell-
it's me. I knew what I wanted to talk to you about. Did you see that Ben Thorpe went on like a huge rant the other day about how rude it was to not say hello to people? I don't know if you were in the chat or not, but it's the first thing I thought of when he started yelling about it.
Roswell Declaration are available through Sightings online service.
If you guys are thinking that the reason that Sightings went away was a copyright issue, and now that we're under the umbrella of America Online, who used to sponsor the show, that's why it came back after AOL took over, that's something that should be on an episode of Sightings.
Had a paranormal experience, please write to us at Sightings. Sightings can also be contacted at America Online at keyword Sightings. At the Sightings forum, download images, sounds, and quick
Whoever
clips.
didn't say hi to him,
Also,
he was really
join
mad
us
about
daily
it.
in our chat room, live on AOL.
Until next time, remember.
No.
mystery
It
is
wasn't like a stranger. It was one of his friends that gave him the PCP. Like, it wasn't like a stranger. It was just one of his buddies gave him a laced joint without telling him, and he had never had any. He had never done PCP before.
Exposed to an open mind. For Sightings.
But yeah, if you're talking about how people are talking like, you know, $20 worth of whatever to make a gram joint kill somebody, yeah, that's pretty outlandish. Brief clip of the internet, yeah.
On Sci-Fi, Dark Shadows.
I like that. I like when they show the computers in anything, no matter what era it is. But then again, like, I just like it in movies, even if it's made up shit. That, like, I like to see all the control panels and like how the different worlds like handle like monitors and stuff like that. It's kind of nerdy. Hold on, before we get in here, I want to see something. I want to see if I can sync something up. Bear with me. Oh yeah, I see the Thorpe. Courtney desperately fakes being competent. Ben questions, digs into her behavior. Courtney reveals she really has no plan or idea of what's going on. I'm trying to find just a version of that video with no commentary on it. Hang on, sorry, I'm just trying to find a complete version of this. Oh yeah. Oh, they've got it on the Kid Rock song. Hold on. I got a different song in mind. Okay, hang on. Now, I don't know because this might not queue up with this might not be queued up because there might be commentary or something, but let's see how this works. Okay, let's see if this will sync up.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Mama, please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So
oh my god. Are they playing pickleball?
Back and forth with the bullshit. I know I said it before, I don't mean it. It's been a while since I had your attention. So it might hurt to hit it.
Why is the preview? Oh, why is the preview image? How to Make America Healthy? Measles cases up 44%. All right. Well, I just wanted to see if that song would sync up with the video. The original the original music was Kid Rock's, whatever that song, his major song. But for some reason in my mind, I was like, I know this would sync up perfectly with Let's Get Down to Business. So I had to see if it would work or not.
On this edition of Sightings, deep within Colorado's Black Forest, something is disturbing the
And I
solitude
couldn't,
of
I
Steve
had
and
to find
Bethany's
out.
Rocky Mountain retreat.
We came home and it was like the 4th of July in our living room and in our bedroom.
A Sightings investigation provides some answers. Then, could this man have discovered proof of intelligent life on Mars?
You realize how fantastic all this sounds.
I think it synced up pretty well.
Laylee Hayslett knew that her brother's spirit would not be still until
But
she
with
found
clip-on
and buried
mics.
his remains. Sightings goes to Vietnam, searching for the spirit of
I'll
a
be right
restless
back.
warrior. There's further proof of a dramatic UFO encounter over Iran.
It can be any technology to be like that is only UFO.
And first there were crop circles. Now Sightings uncovers the mystery of the sand rings.
I had to know. I know it was a weird time to do it, but I couldn't get it out of my head.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. When the Lee family of Black Forest, Colorado contacted Sightings, it was their last resort. The Lees were exhausted, both
Did we
emotionally and
even get the
financially.
werewolf?
They'd spent everything they had trying to cope with the terrifying haunting in their rustic mountain home. When Sightings saw photographs the Lees had taken of the supposed entity,
Restless Warrior
the
update.
investigative team was quickly dispatched. With the majestic Rocky Mountains as a backdrop, Black Forest, Colorado seemed like a picture-perfect destination for Steve and Beth Lee. For 5 years, the Lees rented homes in the area
Can't
until
swim.
they decided this was the place they wanted to set down roots.
Well, you can just be like, hey, where's Daninsky? And then Daninsky can be flexing in the swimming pool.
Strangely, as soon as they made the commitment to
Drinking
stay,
whole, drinking, what, hold
paranormal
on.
force
Drinking whole milk. Who cares? What's the big deal about whole milk? I thought they were into like raw milk. Like raw milk, I guess in their world would be a flex if you're drinking it, but like they sell, I'd get whole milk at Kroger. Like, what's the big deal?
wanted them out.
We came home.
Come over and get in the hot
it
tub
was
and
like
drink
the 4th
milk
of
with
July in
me.
our living room and in our bedroom. We had all kinds of lights
Oh my
flashing
God.
through.
Can you imagine if they'd have had Mel Gibson there for the jacuzzi?
We would hear people walking.
You know
or
about
sound
Mel
like
and his
people walking
jacuzzis.
across the roof. We would lay in bed at night and hear
Colorado.
chains dangling. One night we woke up and we heard orchestra music. Just strange things started happening.
The Lees did not immediately assume that this was the work of a ghost or a poltergeist.
Float
They
and
searched for
drink
a
whole
conventional
milk.
explanation. A sophisticated burglar alarm was installed. Security cameras surveilled their property.
They probably told
Beth
him
hired
not
private-
to show him not to make any more raw milk videos because that kid died like a week ago or something.
investigators.
And there have been
queried
quite a
state
few
and federal
problems.
agencies. So far, these efforts have added up to more than $30,000.
We've basically used all of our savings. We've used all of our things we ever invested. We've used the college funds, the whole works, trying to figure this out.
The Lees have been gathering an impressive body of evidence
Whole
that
milk,
some
man.
strange forces at work here.
And
There are
pickleball.
audio tapes
Do you
of
think that
inexplicable-
RFK did the right thing and went to the Tan Man and got a pickleball anywhere pre-measured court tape system?
noises, statements from multiple eyewitnesses, and bizarre photographic images.
Things started coming out in the photographs.
Oh my gosh, this guy's
And, which-
awesome, dude. Steve Lee, Sediment Racing, something racing.
I thought it was a light leak and
Sequest
camera
Racing.
messing up. So that's when I changed cameras and started taking a lot more pictures. I took a picture right over against my wall, and when we got it back, it had some fog in it with an image it looked like of a face.
We need
Getting the
Jeremy to
same
start
image in
drinking
the
whole
fog
milk.
outside the house and in front of the house and back, no matter where I
Yeah,
take it.
like I drink whole milk all the time. Like that's what I put in all my, that's what I cook with and everything. Raw milk shouldn't be sold. Not everyone able to drink it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it because they don't want people giving it to their kids, but otherwise, I mean, who gives a shit? I don't care if I don't care if adults make themselves sick or worse if it's something they want to do.
The images contradicted the Lees' belief that the disturbances were caused by electronic interference, atmospheric conditions, or
I like whole milk. I don't know that I would like if I was at Kroger and I saw somebody buying skim milk, I wouldn't be like, huh, woke. Like what? Whole milk is just one of the many regular milk choices, societally approved, legally approved milk options.
Those convinced them to search in a new paranormal direction. When Steve Lee contacted Sightings for help, we called in longtime photographic consultant Edson Williams. Williams is an expert in creating special effects on film. He is trained to detect trick photography.
Of all the pictures I saw, this is certainly one of the most curious.
Well,
it would be difficult to recreate that dot.
It's a little late to reel
exposure. This dot caught my eye because this is the only
reel that
instance
genie back into the
where
bottle.
there's both a hazy aberration and a very sharp dot. And also, these are indoor. This is
It's
the first
me.
and
Next
only
thing,
dot I've seen that was
F Wood's
inside
going
the
to say
house.
that raw milk has
This image was
devastated
probably
communities
the most
across the
interesting of all
Rust
the
Belt.
images to me. It has a light beam that seems to be emanating from the ceiling.
I'm going to
It
throw a
has
cup
slight
of raw
glow around
milk
the top.
onto Daninsky
And the
during
light
our
has
commentary.
a slight bend to it, which also I thought was very, very interesting.
He's going to
As
say,
it comes down,
call
it gets
Grace a
little
beach
thicker.
ball
It
head
has
one
about a
too
5
many
or 6
times
degree
at the
bend
commentary table, and I'm going to
midway
throw a
through the
cup of
beam.
raw milk on him.
If this is not trick photography, what is it? Sightings offered to send an investigative team to Black Forest.
Drinks
I'm kind
whole
of at
milk
the point
straight
now
from the
where
trad
I have
udders.
the best in the field saying we don't
Do you think
know.
Grace could produce milk?
And so that's why y'all are here, because we're kind of at the point now where, you know, if we have to accept it as paranormal, I guess
Her
we
body
will.
might be averse to it because Ben said that Courtney tried to kill her by drowning her in breast milk. So maybe she's like, maybe her nipples are like blocked because of psychological issues.
The investigation focuses on 3 areas where activity is most pronounced. An
By a
exterior
plant
wall
that processes
adjacent
milk
to the
smelled
Lee's
like someone
satellite
shat their
dish,
pants.
the living room, and upstairs in the master bedroom. The Sightings team brings in multiple cameras and highly sensitive wireless microphones. A second crew hired by the Lees records
Oh,
our
look at
team
that
so
camera.
they can learn how to conduct follow-up investigations.
This is so
Psychic echo
cool.
boom.
We're getting to see like how Sightings is set up for these interviews.
Dean has been brought in to locate paranormal hotspots, which
What's
we will
up,
attempt to
ATF Media?
substantiate with a thermal imaging system.
Any slight thermal changes the camera will
Oh,
see.
shit.
We take the temperature information and convert it to color.
Peter
And
Blyven.
There's 256
That sounds like a
different
word
colors
the
that we're
scientist on The Simpsons would say. Blyven.
displaying on the screen.
Less than an hour into the investigation, unusual interference completely wipes out the team's audio system.
Huh.
It coincides with Echo Bodine's first psychic impressions of a threatening force.
Excuse me?
I sat down and I was trying to listen to him,
Echo Bodine, Jethro's sister.
and I became aware of several voices over here. And so I turned around and
No, it's
there's a
always
ma-
been there,
there's a
Daninsky.
male spirit
Grace is a very
standing
nurturing
right there, right there.
type.
In the precise place where Echo is pointing, thermal imaging reveals an anomalous hotspot in the rafters. The heat reads as light.
I'm not
blue,
advocating
while the rest
for it.
of
I'm
the
just
ceiling
saying, like,
area reads in
if
dark.
it wasn't, if people wouldn't give it to their kids, then it'd be different. But like, if just adults wanted to, like, if we sold raw milk like cigarettes, then that would be fine. I mean, I don't give a shit.
Cooler blues and pinks.
What
He's
business is it of mine if
responsible
somebody gets the shits?
The things that
you know?
have happened, and he will continue to be responsible for
I'll
the
stick
things
with
that
my
will
edgy
continue to
whole
happen.
milk
He considers this
while
to
I'm
be
floating
his
in the
place,
hot tub.
basically.
A few minutes later, an unseen force pushes a heavy video camera off its sturdy tripod.
Do you remember when Eric McHenry got hit by a person or force? I wonder if this is what it was like. Look at this computer, though, for real. Look at this look at this huge computer. And this, like, massive keyboard. Oh, my gosh. This thing is awesome looking.
What just happened with the camera?
What about I mean, the same what happens if somebody smokes cigarettes or if somebody gets in a drunk driving accident or What if they're at the hospital because they've overdosed on weed? I mean, these people, something happens to these bodies anyway. Like, their families can deal with it. And if their families can't deal with it, then we'll put them wherever in that mass grave they spoke about earlier.
My camera was set up here on the tripod. It was locked in. And all of a sudden,
so you thought.
It just took a header right off the tripod.
The farmers will tax the raw milk extra, and that way it's basically the farmers are paying to bury their customers. Is that fair?
And here in Bennett.
The camera is undamaged, and the investigation continues in Steve and Beth's bedroom. Here, Echo receives her strongest psychic impressions.
What I'm feeling is this room is absolutely full of spirits. This room attracts spirits from the past. This is not a restful place. This is not a restful room to sleep in.
Again, there is physical evidence of an unexplained
Yeah, of course you would
intruder.
tax the raw milk.
A slow,
Tax
hollow
all the
thumping is
suckers.
picked up by a police scanner in a corner of the bedroom. It's also
No,
picked
but
up
you
by
would
the
you would have to, because it is I mean, no matter how you look at it, I mean, even they've shifted away from it over to whole milk, which is an absolutely, like, that seems like something Saturday Night Live would do, have them talking about whole milk being edgy because of the effect it's had on children. So why not just treat it like one of the many other products you can only buy if you're an adult? And of course you would tax it. Give them the old, what do they call it? The sin tax.
Sightings audio operator, and by Echo Bodine. It is unlike any kind of known electronic interference.
Steve turned on his scanner, and initially we heard that exact same noise, but now we're hearing something else, and it started out
This
really
guy's like,
slow.
hey,
It
there's
sounded
room
like,
over
sort
here
of
on
like
the bed if
footsteps,
you need to sit down.
and now it's gotten a little faster, and this is how it sounds.
This is
Okay,
compelling
where do you guys stand on tapping demons? Give me a second here. Let's look this up. I want to talk about tapping demons. Okay, this isn't exactly what I thought. I wrote a story about a tapping demon, and apparently I was incorrect. It says here that tapping demons historically refers to the use of an ancient Mesopotamian incantation bowl to trap spirits. Artists or magicians would draw a demon on the bowl, surround it with protective spells, and invert the bowl to bind the entity. In modern paranormal context, 3 taps or knocks is often associated with demons mocking the Holy Trinity. Okay, I thought that tapping demons were literally like demons that just made like tapping noises. Like, I have a story where like a guy buys like a new bed set from a pawn shop, and he keeps hearing like really faint tapping, and it keeps getting like louder and louder and louder. But I guess that's all completely, it's not Catholic accurate, I guess.
Evidence that some kind of physical disturbance is affecting the Lee home. But the force
Ghosts
seemed to
don't
be
shit.
most evident in the emotional
If you
effect.
want that kind of content, the other day, Vegan Patriot took a shit and didn't wash her hands, and then she vomited while she was walking down the sidewalk.
It had on members of the investigative team.
I, for one, would like to get out of here.
In the living room, Echo is asking Beth to recall some of her feeling of terror and anxiety.
I have to basically
when
shelve
the
that
feelings
project
return
now.
unannounced.
All of a sudden, I felt like something was just holding me, and it was cold, and I wasn't sitting, I wasn't standing, and I couldn't breathe, and I was lightheaded, and I feel just like that right now.
Yeah, like it was almost like somebody opened up a
and they
cold
just
winter
kind of,
door.
but they're holding you and kind of going like,
right here.
Well, I can still do my
going
Susan
again.
Smith
It's
movie
getting
and then my Ultimate Dream
bigger
project.
again. Unbelievable.
I have got to move for just a second.
And
It's
AIDS
really
quake.
strong. I've just got to get away from here.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Why's she walking like Ric Flair after a successful title defense?
Oh, wow.
Woo!
Unbelievable.
With the
That's amazing. Look at her go. The Fargo strut.
Just got to get away from here.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
With the emotions, there is more electronic interference. There seems to be a connection, and the team decides
It
to
looked
move
like that
outside
one.
to
Remember
the
that
area.
one time Ben stood up in the middle of the street and he had to slowly waddle away.
Between the living room's exterior wall and the satellite dish. It is here that the intersection of the...
Well, yeah, she was real adamant too. Somebody asked her if she was pooping, and she said that she found that to be disrespectful. I'm not. This is a direct quote. Don't put this on me. She said that calling it that she wasn't pooping, she was shitting, and that calling it pooping was disrespectful to the turd.
Physical and the emotional overtakes a member of the Lee's camera crew.
Walking out like a drunk Scott Hall. Remember that one politician that did the weird walk on stage? It was some woman. I can't remember what country she was from. That was a cool walkout, though.
My arms. It's going inside of her. Is what I
She farted her out.
My chest, my arms, my legs. Echo told her to keep saying, clear me now.
She should have done the Scott Hall
I'm clear.
arm motion again.
Okay. What is it? All right.
Look at that gun up there.
What is it? It's okay, Sherry. Don't, Sherry. Don't. It's just what they want you to do. Stay calm. Stay calm.
Come on, Sherry.
I want to go away.
It's okay. It's like it's an energy that's pulling on me, and the same time it's pulling on her.
What is it?
Backward sharp walk,
As
yes.
soon as she left the house,
Don't look
the
at me.
terror subsided and was completely gone less than 24 hours later. It's a phenomenon that Echo Bodine believes is a direct result of the more than 20 restless spirits she believes are trapped inside this house.
On a 1 to 10 scale, it's a 10. The activity is monumental.
This preliminary investigation confirms what the Lee family has felt for more than a year. But more work will have to be done to determine why their home is
Stay
being
in
targeted
frame.
and what it will take to appease the spirits
Man,
here.
what a story.
Mainly, I just want to know my
What a
life
story,
again,
Mark.
and to get it past us and.
She
get on
does
down
kind of
the
look
road.
good, I'm not going to lie. In those
Since our investigation,
confessionals,
the
she
unseen
looks
forces
pretty decent.
inside the Lee home have turned violent. Steve Lee recently sent us this photograph of a large scratch across his forehead. There was no scratch on the negative. The following day, as this home video shows,
Oh my God,
Steve developed
what?
a large, painful welt on his forehead. His
What?
doctor can't explain the cause of the injury. The Lees believe that this welt was caused by violent energy directed at Steve by an evil spirit within the house. They have agreed to update sightings if this strange phenomenon continues. And we will continue to update you.
Next, if there's life on Mars, is there a human connection?
I'm absolutely convinced we're related to other beings elsewhere in our galaxy.
Wow, satanic Sherry.
There
The
is,
SWO.
or was, life on Mars. This is the conclusion of many researchers who've studied NASA photographs of Mars transmitted by the Viking spacecraft. Several photographs show a face staring out into the cosmos. It seems impossible, but as correspondent
Werewolf is
Carla Bull
over, man. That was
reports,
last
there
episode.
are clues here on Earth that add an intriguing new dimension to the face on Mars.
Melissa Jo Peltier, Leonard
Here in the
Peltier's daughter.
countryside of south central England, in a hamlet named Avebury, stand 5,000-year-old stone structures of unknown origin. There are also circular mounds built for a purpose no one has deciphered. But now, an intriguing new theory suggests that
Yeah, I feel like one of the very few things that got consistent updates was the that house, the Sally house. And then I think maybe we've had a couple other ones, but yeah, it's mostly false promises, which I'll get into on episode 3 of Criminal Drip, Grace Thorpe's Fresh and Fit scam.
these mysterious monuments are connected to similar formations on the surface of Mars.
The complex on Mars is exceedingly important in my view because it's
You have to be
highlighted by
naked.
the presence of the famous face on Mars, which
David Percy
acted as a beacon and probably attracted our attention to the
You
whole
think
area.
that would help?
David Percy is an author, filmmaker.
Are you saying you think that the Thorpe should get naked for their struggle sessions?
And paranormal researcher. He believes that this face is not a trick of light and shadow, that it's part of a vast complex of Martian structures created by intelligent life.
This is
Yeah,
the
sorry, F-Will.
whole of the complex. Over here to the west, we have
Maybe
an
it'll
area
flash
which
before
we
your
call the
eyes and
city.
you die.
And over here to the right is a crater, and beneath it, down here, a spiral mound. And over to the west, a pyramid which is five-sided.
In 1991, while researching the Avebury crop circle phenomenon, Percy made a startling connection.
I took an Ordnance Survey map of the area and superimposed it over the NASA photograph of the complex in its entirety, and found that it matched.
The most striking match was made here, at the famous Avebury Circle.
It's about a quarter of a mile in diameter, and around about 5,000 years ago, they shifted approximately 4 million cubic feet of material. One would want to ask why. My hypothesis is that this is a copy of the crater on Mars.
That's a big stretch for a lot of people to believe that this is the duplicate of something on Mars.
Sure.
How do you get there?
Well, this isn't the only item that we're dealing with here. We have just a short distance away Silbury
Yeah,
Hill.
it was a really short
It's the
segment.
same relative size as a spiral mound on Mars, and is the same relative
Daninsky, do you think these these large mounds are because of what we were talking about earlier?
10 years to build this. It was equivalent in effort to putting a man on the moon in the 60s.
Avebury Circle and Silbury Hill do bear an uncanny resemblance to their counterparts on Mars. But I found some of Percy's other theories harder to accept. David, I have to tell you that this, to me, looks like an ordinary country path.
Yes, I agree with you. It is, in fact, an ordinary country path, but it happens to be the analogue of the top ridge of the pyramids in the city on Mars.
But if you really want to see something, don't you think you'll see it? I mean, can't you be making things because you want it to fit your theory?
Yes, of course that can be done, and the people who look at this information have to see for themselves. You've got to explain, for instance, why that crater is positioned exactly where it is on this planet. It isn't at
She
a
seems
random
really
place.
sickened by
It is
this
a
guy.
very accurately measured point between the North Pole and the equator. If you draw a line from the wall down to the south to the spiral mound, and then up again to that tetrahedral rim pyramid, you get just under 19.5 degrees. If you do exactly the same thing at Avebury, you get precisely the same measurement. You cannot get such a correspondence just by wishful thinking.
How do you think it was created? Who do you think created it, and why?
Clearly, this complex on Mars that we're talking about was built by intelligent beings who went to Mars and built the complex because they were working on a project. And this project, in my...
I mean, this just seems completely asinine to me on every level. How do you even know the information you're getting about Mars is accurate, especially in the 90s? And that you're doing all the measurements correctly, and how are you getting all... This just seems nuts.
View concerned the emerging beings on this planet.
Percy believes that the extraterrestrials came to Avebury
Oh, no, that's
centuries
kind of a
ago
little
to
cool
change the
area over
course of
there.
human evolution, that they conducted experiments in genetic engineering.
I believe they constructed the complex to undertake a genetic project that concerned the emerging beings on this planet. And I believe that that spot marks the birthplace of human beings, Cro-Magnon man.
Percy has found an
Stan
unlikely
Gooch.
ally for his bizarre theory in...
Cro-Magnon man.
Percy has found an unlikely...
Birthplace of human beings, Cro-Magnon man.
Creatures something by Stan Gooch.
Percy has found an unlikely ally for his bizarre theory in evolutionary researcher Stan Gooch. They have concentrated evolutionary researcher Stan Gooch.
Gooch.
They have concentrated on the chain of human development, which made an unexpected and unexplained leap from Neanderthal man, who appears more ape-like, to Cro-Magnon man, who appears more human. How do evolutionists explain that?
Well, they don't. They just drop the subject. They say, well, we'll find the home site of Cro-Magnon man one day, and it doesn't really matter. They just brush it aside.
What do you think of David's theory? That
Look
in
at his
fact,
cool
it was
computer setup.
Genetic
interference from extraterrestrials that explains this?
I think the extraterrestrial theory is more likely than any, because why have we not found the home sites where Cro-Magnon evolved over periods of millions of years? That's what's required.
Why would extraterrestrials on Mars be concerned with our development?
Why is she throwing up a Roman
Because they
salute
have
to this guy? She
always
tested
been
him?
concerned with our development. I'm absolutely convinced we're related to other beings elsewhere in our galaxy, and indeed in other galaxies too.
You realize how fantastic all this sounds.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do
I think
you
it's
worry
rather
that people
fantastic news myself.
will think you're crazy?
No, because I believe we will actually be able to go to that site and see the things that they were doing. I predict that when we go there, we will find out a lot more that will corroborate this unfolding story.
NASA agrees that the Viking space probe has made significant scientific contributions. However, they steadfastly maintain that
Squat
proof
down
of
and make a
life on
pool
Mars
cue disappear.
is
Wow.
not one of them.
Next,
seem
what's
very
behind
comfortable.
Oregon's mysterious sand
I
rings?
believe that there are non-physical, non-terrestrial intelligence.
And who's watching for killer comets?
Killer Kyle from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I'll be right back.
Now, here are some of the stories Sightings is following in the news. World-renowned alien abduction expert Dr. John Mack is facing serious charges from some of his colleagues at Harvard. They want him out. At Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Pulitzer Prize-winning professor of psychiatry John Mack is embroiled in a fight for academic freedom, unprecedented in the school's 360-year history, all because of this book on the alien abduction experience.
I believe one has to expand our notion of the possible and the real to even begin to take this in.
Dr. Mack's book is a case-by-case study of his own patients' encounters.
It was a little gray being, and it seemed to be female just the way it was sitting.
As his book earned increasing publicity, a faculty committee began questioning Dr. Mack's
Oh, you're
psychiatric
upset
methods.
because
Despite
hold
more than
on,
30
hold on.
years teaching-
You're upset because this lady's pushing back on these people? See, I like that. I like that, especially because moving forward as a viewer, if I know, like, okay, this chick is a hard ass, and then the other chick is kind of more, you know, she kind of rolls with things more, that could really give you like some varied chances at maybe even boring segments being good. I like the skepticism.
At Harvard, Dr. Mack was threatened with expulsion.
The number of the people who have gone forward to work with me, with the media, and connect with my book, have in fact been threatened with loss of their jobs, and people have actually lost their jobs.
These are they're Maui monk pretzel braids, which is like the Maui onion and then monk fruit, and they're made from this company by a mother and daughter who worked together to build this pretzel company, I guess. It really makes you wonder what could have happened if, you know, Grace and Courtney could have put aside their differences. Could Abyssinia have survived, you know?
After a year-long investigation, John Mack was permitted to remain at Harvard, with the warning that his future studies must be, in the panel's words, more scholarly. Our island in space, our Earth, is threatened by giant chunks of galactic debris hurtling blindly through space. When the Shoemaker-Levy comet crashed into Jupiter in 1994, it was Earth's wake-up call. A congressional task force was formed to monitor the potential danger to our planet. But recently, the task force was disbanded. In a special issue of Astronomy magazine, editor Robert Burnham warns that this means there are now more people working behind the counter of one fast food restaurant than there are watching the entire cosmos for signs of impending disaster. The threat is real. Comets and asteroids have hit the Earth before. Craters range in size from just a few feet to over 5,000 square miles. According to Astronomy magazine, NASA researchers believe there are over 1,000 near-Earth objects large enough to cause a global cataclysm if they hit. However, fewer than 10% of them have actually been discovered. So the next time you go to your favorite fast food joint, count the number of people behind the counter. Then remember that your lunch order is getting more attention than target Earth. Along the rugged Oregon coastline, in this inaccessible cove, someone or something
Wow, look
has
at
left
that.
a calling card, and the message is striking.
What a beautiful, look at this
Similar to the
beach.
one or something has.
Oh man, look at that. Look at this cool like waterfall over here. Describe the product of Boyd as galactic debris. Wow. Look at this cool area over here. Get you a couple trad girls, throw down by this nice like little shallow waterfall pool here.
Left a calling card, and the message is strikingly similar to the one left in crop fields worldwide. But instead of corn or wheat, this message is written in sand.
Who the circle makers are, I believe that they're a non-physical, non-terrestrial, very high-order intelligence.
Ilis is the national coordinator of the Center for Crop Circle Studies
What a
in West
nut.
Network. She has investigated dozens of inexplicable formations in farmers' fields throughout North America and has found a strong connection between crop circles and sightings of UFOs. In Hunk Point, Oregon, the formation of the sand circle was also connected to a UFO sighting.
This is the first time that we've ever had sand rings. Certainly on the beach, it's the first time in sand at all. There was a light seen offshore the night before the sand rings were discovered in the area here. This area is under the high water line twice a day.
Further study and more photographic evidence is impossible. As quickly as it appeared, the Hug Point sand ring was gone, washed away by the tide.
Billy Jack Haynes country.
We'll have more stories from the news next time. Now, here's what's coming up on Sightings.
One crop circles
Lately,
at
Hayslip's book inspired Oliver Stone to make Heaven and Earth. Now, Sightings investigates the frightening story of a restless spirit that haunts her family. Later, Iran's top military command speaks out about a dramatic UFO encounter.
In 1992, when Laylee Hayslip returned to Vietnam after 20 years in the United States, it was as a technical advisor to director Oliver Stone. He was making Heaven and Earth, the true story of Laylee's coming of age during the Vietnam War. As Laylee watched her past unfold in front of the camera, it seemed strange paranormal forces were at work behind the scenes.
I can't believe a mother and daughter. It says they started the company in 2019 with a dream of crafting pretzels infused with passion. Hand-picked seasonings, sustainably harvested flowers, they take pride in the natural ingredients used to make their ambitious flavors. We believe that something as small as a pretzel can have purpose. That's why we commission talented budding artists to design one-of-a-kind artwork for our bags, making them a canvas for something truly stellar. We lose sleep over baking the best-tasting pretzels because to us, it's not just a pretzel. It's a labor of love. Peace and Pretzels, Gina and Elizabeth, woman-owned, nut-free, and vegan. Patriot. They're so fucking
She was
good,
a young
dude.
woman when she left Vietnam as the bride of an American. Now, Laylee Hayslip returns to her homeland with director Oliver Stone.
This house here is not supposed to be there on
Laylee's story will become the
Is that Oliver Stone?
movie Heaven and Earth. And on this trip, she is guiding the cast and crew through her childhood village and introducing them to her family.
No, this way she remembers.
They are here to learn the details of Laylee's girlhood.
If
that
you
will
like
bring the film to
Hawaiian
life.
onion.
It is a rare opportunity for actress Joan Chen to meet Laylee's mother, whom she will portray in the film. But another family member is conspicuously absent.
These kids have to drink raw
His
milk.
picture graces the family's altar. Offerings and prayers to him, the traditional Vietnamese rituals for honoring
No, they're
the
not
dead,
lesbians.
are performed regularly. The rituals are carried out despite
No,
the
Gina
fact
and
that no
Elizabeth
one in
is
the family
mother and
knows
daughter.
how Laylee's younger brother, Sauban, died or where his body can be found. Drafted by the Viet Cong, Sauban vanished in 1963. He's not been heard from since, except
That's what they
in
look
the
like.
supernatural visions of Laylee's mother. Nearly 30 years after her son's disappearance, Laylee's 84-year-old mother tells her daughter that Sauban has returned in spirit.
Not
She
everything is
describes an
lesbian.
eerie visit from a snake that followed her around the house.
Woman-owned,
Then there was a sickness in the family that could not be treated. Two traditional Vietnamese signs that a restless spirit is present.
Snake to us is a very symbolic. It's something
wow.
is
Look at
powerful.
his hair.
Something that represent on the other side.
Lei Li is unsettled by
Man,
the
listen to this
possibility that
music.
Sao Bon is not at rest. This trip is no longer just about making
Hey, what's
a
up, Laughing Cedar?
He's my mother's favorite son. We always feel like he's so there with us. Which is my mother very much aware that he's not happy with where he is right now.
He have come many times at a spirit, but just like a human body, just like a shadow, and have come to her many times, and sometimes let her know that he present, and sometimes he didn't
What do you mean?
allow her.
What do you mean clearly they aren't? They seem pretty trad to me. Gina and Elizabeth, Peace and Pretzels. They are like, they're so good. And they're like basically priced very similar to like, have you guys ever heard of Dots? Or even like the like nicer rolled gold. So they're like in a decent price bracket, but there's no one else making flavor like this.
Her to know that he's there, but he's there very often. She missed him so much, and so he came.
Laughing Cedar is also woman-owned and nut-free.
A proper burial in the family plot is essential if a spirit is to truly be put to rest. But Sao Bon cannot be put to rest until his body is found. The Vietnamese government has never contacted the family. Sao Bon is just one of the nameless, faceless dead labeled missing in action and forgotten by the Viet Cong.
Are you saying
the
they can't be
possibility that he
a
met
trad
with a
'cause they're
violent end
lesbian?
is inevitable and has serious
We can't
implications
confirm
for the
that.
family who survives him.
In the traditional Vietnamese
It's
worldview,
true. It's great
if someone
flavor.
dies a violent death, then they become an unhappy spirit, and they can roam the earth for.
If you're trying to say that what I said sounded like Clarence, you've clearly never watched Clarence do a taste test. All he does is chew the food directly into the camera, and that's it. He doesn't even talk about the taste or anything. He's
Forever.
like,
Karen Fugelstad is a cultural anthropologist at Cabrillo College in Santa Cruz, California. She specializes in Vietnamese spirit lore.
Upon death, the most important thing to become is an ancestor. But if someone is not taken care of in the afterlife,
Why
or
do
if
you-
they've
what's-
died a violent.
What's special about a Maui onion? Is it like does it just have to be grown there to actually to have the Maui onion flavor?
Or very traumatic or a young death, then they can't really become an ancestor. They wander around the earth as a spirit. Spirits possess living people if they're not taken care of in their afterlife.
The family believes their mother's recent illness is evidence of a spirit possession. When a medical doctor
I know
fails
how
to
you- I know how
diagnose her
you
mother's
be.
illness, Lei Li agrees to the traditional
F would.
Vietnamese approach. The family goes to a psychic.
Oh, look at Master Tan.
And the psychic said that his soul have to tell us that he want to remove where it's right now. Usually it's not happy until it buried properly.
The practice of communicating with the dead is a long-standing mainstream tradition in Vietnam. Westerners looking at this landscape
It tastes like
Vietnamese
Maui
warn,
Wowie.
can only see a fraction of the forces at work here.
If you could actually
They used to have a
see
chip
what
called
the universe was
Crunchers,
comprised of
and
in the
Crunchers had a
countryside.
Maui onion, or maybe they called it
Then you
Hawaiian
would see
onion. I
living
can't
people
remember.
going about the business
But it was really good.
of their everyday lives. But you'd also see spirits everywhere. You'd see spirits in the water. You'd see spirits in trees. You'd see spirits by beautiful rocks. You'd see ancestors hovering around every single house. And you'd see goddesses and gods and, the spirits of ancient kings and queens. The countryside would just be, it would just be an
Okay, hang
amazing
on. I've got a
thing. You'd
picture
see
of
spirits
the-
everywhere.
To help the earthbound see this full picture, psychics are an important part of every peasant community.
Okay, here they
Surprisingly,
are.
the psychic in Leilie's village tells her that there are 2 family members who must be found
Here's
and put to rest. Her brother, Salban, and a female
here's the
cousin
Pretzel
who also
family.
disappeared during the war. He proposes finding both. The search begins the next morning. An hour outside of Da Nang, the psychic leads the family to a spot
is
where
the
he
daughter.
believes Leilie's cousin was raped and murdered 30 years ago.
Wow.
This man is believed to be a wizard. He uses divining rods to determine where the remains will be found. Family and friends dig into the soft earth until the wizard instructs them to stop. The psychic determines that these are the remains of Leilie's
Here we go.
cousin
Here's
and instructs the family to take them back home for burial.
Here's a picture
At
of
sunset, the remains
daughter.
are buried in the family plot. Sticks of incense are lighted and prayers of thanksgiving are offered. The family is filled with a great sense of inner peace.
He's very grateful that helped him to relocate his
The unhappy soul has to be liberated from the RV. What was this guy's
sister.
name?
He's very grateful
Bon
that
Locke.
helped him to relocate his sister. To him, he's very happy now. At least he have a peace of mind. Without our help, he don't know when it's gonna happen. But it happened today, and now it's over.
A storm is brewing, as if to remind the family that there is still a restless spirit among them.
Do you feel like two
The
what appear to be
following
white
day, the
women
family
should be
accompanies the psychic on a
appropriating
longer, more
Native
difficult journey
American
into the
Hawaiian
past.
culture
They
through
hope
these
this
Maui
road will lead to the remains,
onion,
both earthly and
monk
spiritual,
fruit flavor
of their beloved Salban.
pretzels?
Although no tangible remains of Leilie's cousin were found, the family believes her essence was clinging to the soil and rock the psychic instructed them to take home. Leilie knew that her brother's remains might be found in the same way, but after 20 years of living in the West, she secretly hoped they might find something more.
Next,
I have a high hope to come here and find my brother remain.
dramatic new information brings Leilie a step
Greek
closer
eggs?
to
Jeremy
finding
probably
her
has some
brother's
Greek
remains.
Leilie Haislip's supernatural odyssey began when she returned to Vietnam as technical advisor for Oliver Stone's movie Heaven and Earth. Leilie's mother felt that she was receiving disturbing visitations from the spirit of her son and Leilie's brother, Salban. He'd been missing in action since the 1960s.
Look how
With a
busy
Vietnamese
Sightings
psychic,
is.
the family traveled across
Like, they
the
must
country
get a lot
in
of
search
tips.
of the remains of Salban. It is a difficult journey over unmapped roads, across unnamed rivers, and deep into the Vietnamese countryside, where Viet Cong casualties were known to be very high. It is a route predetermined by the psychic's vision.
You didn't like
and
that
the
one?
route leads to an area where, locals tell the family, many Viet Cong were killed. Again, the psychic determines that spirit remains will be found here, and the wizard defines their exact location. The family begins to dig.
What about an eagle egg?
Temperatures climb to over 100 degrees. A crowd gathers to watch the dig, but there is nothing to see. Again and again, the psychic and the wizard are drawn to this spot.
The psychic
where
and the
earth yields
wizard.
nothing that can be named Salban. The family is devastated.
The wise man
They'd
and the
hoped to discover
warlock.
the remains of Salban. They had hoped this was the end of the road.
Hope to come back here again and find him. I have a high hope to come here and find my brother's remain.
Again, the heavens seem to send a message. Don't give up. Push on. This is the message the family hears in the wind. Back in Da Nang, the family turns to a different kind
Hey, what's
of
up,
spiritual
Jeremy?
intermediary. A man who claims that he is the medium for an ancient Vietnamese queen.
Master
In
Dong.
a trance state,
Hell yeah.
Vietnamese queen.
Fucking Master Dong.
In a trance state, the medium speaks with the voice of an old woman. a voice many people believe is coming directly from the spirit world.
The opium addict and the warlock.
But just as Laylee begins asking about her brother,
I see a dark future. I see an opium eater. Whispering darkness. And I see a warlock with dead eyes.
the session comes to an abrupt end. The local police are upset by the presence
Master
of a camera
Dong.
crew and arrest the medium. The family is frustrated once again. Laylee's first trip home ends with tears. She must return to the United States before she completes the task ordained by tradition.
I can't
But
get
there's
over
no
these
doubt Vietnam's full
pretzels.
of unhappy souls. I think because Sao died during war,
Dr. Karen Fjellsted.
because he died a violent death, the place where he was killed would be a negative place, a place full of terrible feelings, and a place full of horror. It would be much more comforting, both to Sao and to his mother, if he was buried near the family. That would be much more comforting. It would be a much more secure place.
I'll have
and
to
be
try the other
associated with all
flavors
of
they
those,
hadn't gotten in Kroger.
wonderful feelings that people have about home and their family.
When I get
Was
that
Salban
fat
doomed to
YouTube
roam the
check in
earth
a few days.
forever a restless spirit? 2 months after her return home,
I'm just gonna walk into Kroger. I'm gonna be like, listen, give me one of every one of these mother-daughter pretzel bags. Oh, there are 4 flavors? You think I give a fuck? Just put them in the cart.
Laylee received an encouraging message from Da Nang.
I don't know who I
Local
would say that
officials
to.
had heard about the failed search for Salban's remains. It inspired them to search old war records that had been locked away
Myself?
for more than 25 years.
Would the government behind us? And they go back to the records. It's all
Oh
piece
boy,
of
Lily
paper.
Hayslip.
It's almost rotten. And they found that my brother's birth certificate, the day he joined the army, and the day he was killed. And dig back up and bring it out to prove it.
The authorities also found an eyewitness to Salban's death, the Viet Cong doctor who signed the death certificate. Encouraged, Laylee returns to meet the doctor and sign the
Did they
death
get there in a
certificate.
Sprinter van?
Encouraged, Laylee returns to meet the doctor, and he leads the family to the same area the psychic had led them before.
He found the place that the bloodshed. That is when he was wounded. So the psychic, he not 100% correct with the remain, but 50% correct.
The
opium
psychic
eater and the
apparently
warlock.
led them to the spot where Salban was wounded. The doctor leads them to the spot where he last saw the body of Laylee's brother. The doctor takes the family up a treacherous, overgrown mountain path to a cave.
He's like, hold on, Grace, I'll figure out what we need to do. And they hand him one of those giant pipes from like a Chinese opium den. And he's like, okay, I'm seeing it now. The opium, it's speaking to me. Grace, you need to travel to a faraway land and meet up with a king and a comedian and a Mr. Bojangles.
The Viet Cong had a makeshift hospital here. This is where many wounded soldiers were taken to recover or to die. This is where the doctor buried Salban. This time, the remains are not.
Yeah, I think the whole theory that they went there on a vacation makes a lot of sense now. But they were like, hey, we need you to get 2 terrible stories.
Not ambiguous. Human bones are found. A military official certifies that these are the remains of Salban. Laylee, the bereaved sister of a Viet Cong soldier and the wife of an American, is overcome with grief.
The whole time I was thinking, who was the person that killed him? Perhaps maybe I made love to that person, I fall in love with that person.
Perhaps I made love to that person. Fell in love with that person. Listen to the emotion in this story.
I love that person. I hate
They
that
bury her
person.
in an Amazon box?
And yes, me and my sister, we make a living by $1 of the U.S. In the same time, my brother wounded and killed. by the U.S.
Master Dong. Michelle's father.
Just so on track.
Salbon is
You know what I
buried the
could
same
do
day in the
while I'm flush from the YouTube check? I should go talk to the witches.
family plot. His mother collapses at the graveside. Her son had finally come home.
Sometimes I have question that it maybe somebody else remain and not my brother. If in that case,
Didn't they
then will
use
be
these things on John Moxley one time?
haunted by my brother and haunted by the person removed. It's still very peaceful with everything, so it should remain. It's no question, it's no doubt.
Rest in peace, Fonmo.
Since the burial of Salbon's remains in the family plot, Leily's mother has stopped having her disturbing visions. For her family, decades of waiting and wondering are finally
The most
over.
believable
They're
one
the
so
lucky
far.
ones. It's estimated that more than 300,000 civilians and soldiers on both sides are still missing in Vietnam.
She doesn't even know if she's...
Next, one of Iran's most
It's
powerful
even the right
generals
person.
breaks his silence about UFOs.
Uh-oh.
UFO exist, and they're trying to get contact with all of them.
Sightings recently reported on a 1976 confrontation between the Iranian military and a UFO. Since that report, 2 new witnesses have come forward to describe their roles in the historic event. After 20 years of silence, the former deputy commander and a lieutenant general in the Imperial Iranian Air Force are finally speaking out. As recreated in this Iranian television documentary, on September 19, 1976, an enormous UFO was tracked across Iran by the Imperial Air Force. In an exclusive Sightings interview, former Imperial Air Force Generals Nader Yousefi and Mahmoud Sabahat described the tense scramble mission in which an F-4 fighter jet
These are
chased
made in
and
a
attempted to
dedicated,
engage
nut-free
the UFO.
facility. Like, they go out of their
Now,
way to
for
make
the first
sure
time in
there's
nearly
no
20
nut
years, General
at any
Amir
point in
Kamyabipour, the second
manufacturing.
highest ranking officer in the Shah's Imperial Air Force, and his deputy commander, General Abdullah Azerbaijan, spoke exclusively
Wait a
to
minute.
Sightings about what they believe
Oh man, this is like that cat meme where he says like I should buy a boat. Listen, Daninsky. Are you trying to tell me that if you lived in a house where you would be randomly slashed and then a guy that looks like a lost Marx brother shows up and ranting and raving throughout your house, that wouldn't be traumatic?
happened on that historic night in 1976.
I had a statement from the pilots. I had statement from General Yousefi and
I
also
spoke with the
Control
Iranian
Tower.
Air Force, sorry.
And having those calls from
Amir
civilian around the town, I was convinced that was a UFO.
Kamyabipur.
So this is how we went into investigation.
As far as my
Abdullah
experience is
Azerbaijan.
concerned, it can be American airplane, it can be Russian, it can be any technology to be like that, except some super technology, which is only UFO.
General Azerbaijan conducted a thorough investigation into the
Oh, look at
bizarre
this guy.
events of September 19th. He sent his report to the Shah's military liaison and to Iran's U.S. military advisors. For the first time, he reveals what he told the U.S. military.
The highlight of the information that we gave
Captain
to the
Henry S.
US
Shields.
government,
Military.
the highlight of the information.
Sometime in his career, each pilot can expect to encounter strange, unusual happenings which will never be adequately or entirely explained by logic or subsequent investigation. The following article recounts just such an episode as reported by 2 F-4 Phantom crews of the Imperial Iranian Air Force during late 1976. No additional information or explanation of the strange events has been forthcoming. The story will be filed away and probably forgotten, but it makes interesting and possibly disturbing reading. Until 0:30 on a clear autumn morning, it had been an entirely routine night watch for the Imperial Iranian Air Force command posts in the Tehran area. In quick succession, something calls arrived from one of the city's suburbs, reporting a series of strange airborne objects. These unidentified flying objects, UFOs, were described as... I can't read the rest of it.
That we gave to the U.S. government was, number one, we
Boyd
told
Heaven?
them that the high rate of crime and high rate of extradition that we saw from the
Maybe if you're a submissive masochist like Buffalo Beth.
Was something which was not existed those days. Number two, this jamming capability.
Pansexual. Hold on. Pansexual, gender fluid, submissive, masochist. No, I'm sorry. Demonically possessed, pansexual, gender fluid. I forgot the rest. Submissive masochist. There you go.
To jam at such a wide range of frequencies.
Only a few government documents related to this incident have been declassified, but independent data corroborating Azerbaijan's account have been uncovered.
That's what they want
A
you to
United
think,
States
Cody.
reconnaissance satellite was monitoring the skies over Iran on September 19, 1976, and recorded the movement of an unidentified flying
These
object.
documents here tell
Sightings has
another
learned
story.
that the top secret notation 238 scans indicates that the UFO
Possible
event lasted
SA,
more than an
wow.
hour. The meaning of possible SR is still classified.
I don't have any doubt about UFO. UFO exist, and they're trying to find some way to get contact with our world. That is my feeling, and I am positive.
Important information about the Iranian UFO incident may be found in military files in Tehran. But since the ouster of the Shah, the military personnel in this report have been
Very
stripped of any
OnlyFans
privileges
coded
or access
lighting
they were entitled
in
to
the
in Imperial
Sightings
Iran.
office.
Until further notice, the door to this case is closed.
If you've had a paranormal experience,
Oh,
please
man.
write to us
Was it
at
end of the
Sightings.
episode?
Sightings can also be contacted at America Online at keyword Sightings. At the Sightings Forum, download images, sounds, and QuickTime clips. Also, join us daily in our
You notice,
download
though, who
images,
gets the prime
sounds, and
spot
QuickTime
when they're
clips.
showing the internet? It's come to see the Heartland ghost at the Sally house. So that's who's getting the big push.
Also, join us daily in our chat room, live on AOL.
God, imagine the kind of conversations you could have with people.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind. For Sightings,
Look at this. What's happening down here?
I'm Tim White.
Next on Sci-Fi, Dark Shadows.
What an episode.
Are we dealing with an epidemic?
A bold experiment.
We recombine termite and mantid DNA to create a biological
Termite and mantid DNA?
counteragent.
Becomes a deadly mistake.
They were designed to die. They are breeding.
But how do you destroy it? When you've created it. Mira Sorvino. Mimic.
Oh yeah,
7
Mimic. Isn't that a Guillermo del Toro movie, Mimic, or did he did one of them?
On Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah, I can't sit through the promos. I'm sorry.
Of Sightings. Could 3 generations of this family all be experiencing ongoing alien contact?
What was the flavor of their communication?
A sense of urgency.
Sightings has their chilling story. From what these priests can see, their Cathedral of San Francisco is one of the prettiest in Lima, Peru. It's what they can't see that's got them scared. Then, newly discovered documents prove that the United States government has been building flying saucers.
They were probably seen by many people, and probably some French.
And you don't have to believe to understand why she's called Amazing Grace.
To the surprise of the
Amazing
community,
Grace.
she survived a situation where nobody should have survived.
Allegedly, her career got wrecked by Weinstein. I don't mind them, but they play them like, they play a bunch of them, and they're all very, very similar with like hardly any differences in the bumpers. So like, it just starts to make me crazy.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. The alien abduction phenomenon has come under fierce attack recently. It's laughable, the skeptics insist, to believe that extraterrestrial visitors are taking humans against their will for a sinister purpose. But new abductees are coming forward all the time. They withstand the ridicule because for them, alien abduction is not a phenomenon. It's an objective reality.
Subjective reality. Okay.
Three generations of one family enjoying a stroll after dinner on a warm summer evening. Playing ping pong. Sitting around the backyard laughing at dumb jokes. It's the good life in Roseville, California. When you're on the outside, looking in. But what you can't see on the surface is the bizarre secret that this family shares.
Oh boy.
A secret that will forever set them apart from their friends and neighbors.
When you have a family like ours, very open about it,
Shannon
it makes it
Hernandez.
easier to deal with the fears and the anxieties
Is that
of
a
writing
wig?
out something like this.
Shannon Hernandez, her mother, Debbie McGill, and Shannon's 5-year-old son, Zachary, believe that they are being targeted by an extraterrestrial force. They are three generations of one family who claim to have been repeatedly...
This guy's dressed like
They
Tommy
are three
Vercetti in Vice City.
Generations of one family who claim to have been repeatedly abducted by alien life forms. It's a rare phenomenon researchers have named generational encounters.
The advantage of the whole family being contactees is that we can talk about it openly, so everybody's okay with it.
Generational encounters refers to a series
Dr.
of
Richard
contacts
Boylan of
between
the Boylan Bottling
extraterrestrials and
Company.
more than one member of a family, and more specifically, between
stupid
different
haircut.
generations. Sometimes we see 3 or even 4 sequential generations who've experienced extraterrestrial contact.
Dr. Richard Boylan has done extensive study
Boylan.
of the generational encounters phenomenon. He has reached the conclusion that far more cases exist than are actually reported.
I would say that
Remember when
certainly in
Grace had
half the
bangs for a
cases,
minute?
Where there's been contact by ETs over any period of time, there will be contact
During
with
the kinetic Kel
if the
era.
person has children.
Cito's
they
new
talk to their parent,
friends.
find out the parent's been secretly harboring a contact experience in his or her own life. And of course, spousal contacts are very common.
Debbie McGill believes her first alien contact occurred in 1972 in Northern California. Her daughter Shannon has only recently uncovered memories of
What's
her
up,
own
Luna?
extraterrestrial encounters.
What's up, Luna?
In late March, I had a dream that I was being pulled by 5, what everybody would call grays. They're typical gray ETs. I had them on my upper arm, lower arm, and I was being pulled. I woke up terrified, absolutely terrified. The light came in, bed shaking. It's kind of like it all happened at once. I opened my eyes, and up on my wall, I saw the face of an ET very clearly. For a couple of weeks, I was real scared of the dark. It was a real adjustment.
Shannon kept the frightening images to herself until her son Zachary came to her
Hey,
with stories that
Daninsky,
sounded
did you hear about her live stream where she had like her I guess it went south later on in it, but like we got to meet a bunch of people. We got to meet a pregnant hairdresser.
hauntingly familiar.
One day he came up to me and told me about how the aliens landed in the backyard. He even showed me where they parked. There was a little fear at first for him, too. He was scared of the dark and things like that. And
I was
we had
actually
an
just
open
thinking it's probably best that South to West is at the Thorpe stream because he would be horrified by this Grays segment.
discussion about it.
He told his mother about the ETs coming, and they take him to play while Mom and Daddy sleep.
I'm telling the truth here. That's all.
I'm telling the
That's
truth
all I
here.
can say.
What a
Based
liar.
on my observations of him, he certainly seems to be a bright kid who's certainly above average for his age group in his poise and verbal skills. There seems to be a statistical trend with kids who've had ET contact.
Excuse me? When I was in the chat, there were no problems at all. It wasn't until I left that things went bad. I can't be in the stream at all times. The stream was running perfectly smooth for a while. Brad was putting on a comedy show. The pregnant hairdresser was mean mugging.
Performance level a bit above average, and you wouldn't expect that to
Yeah,
hold
Luna
true
Stars.
as much as it does if
She
it was
had to
just a
delete it
fluke.
though.
To be pulled from bed by an unseen hand and carried
Oh,
away
look
by
at
a
that shit.
non-human form would seem a nightmare for most. But Shannon, Debbie, and Zachary report that the contact has been friendly.
Oh, that
Because
hand.
it has been a
Oof.
positive experience
Oh,
overall,
cold,
Debbie and
clammy.
Shannon call themselves experiencers rather than abductees.
Abductee has a negative connotation to it. It means stolen.
I prefer to call myself an
It means
experiencer.
what?
It has a negative connotation to it. It means stolen.
I prefer to
Stolen.
call myself an experiencer because they're not taking me unwillingly. I go quite willingly.
If you would track this pencil.
Hold on a second. Yeah, so don't even try to sell me down the mod river. Like Ben did that time, like it's my job to take down every inward tower. There's plenty of mods in the chat. I can't do everything. Here, I'll give you like just a real quick preview before the grand debut on Boyd Watch Live. But yeah, she took the stream. She had to take the stream down after the fact. But it was a great stream from Luna Star. Hang on.
Mark Fusion, how are you? Have a great hair. I'm not getting my hair cut. I'm getting my hair dyed. I'm not getting it cut. You keep rocking too, Mark. Keep subscribing.
Now here's Brad, who is her this is her sister. This is Luna's sister, and this is her sister's boyfriend, Brad.
Everything. What's going on there? I'm getting my hair done today. I'm getting my hair dyed. I'm doing the highlights, like I said before. I'm doing the highlights today.
Don't drop it.
It's bleach, right?
Yeah.
Watch your eyes. I'm just gonna warn you for your eyes, right?
All right.
What color is she doing?
Orange, green, and purple. I'm doing the highlights.
Doing Gothic.
Yep.
Oh my god! I immediately, when I saw Brad, I was like, I gotta interact with this guy.
I'm doing the Gothic look. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day today and stuff. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, hair, nice. Yep. Subscribe and everything. Appreciate your guys' comments and everything. Appreciate it.
I just really never had the time to actually go to school for that stuff. Let me know if your scalp starts burning, alright?
Okay. But happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day today and stuff.
Do you want to rip some paper towels up for me?
Oh my god, Sissy. Mark said, who is this Amish gentleman? He called your man. No, he called Brad Amish.
Oh, that's my
That's my sister's boyfriend.
Now, see, Cody, this is what the mood is like when Mark Fusion is in the chat. See, everybody's happy, everybody's having a good time.
That was my sister's boyfriend, Brad. He's not He's not Amish.
What happened?
Here he comes. I was so upset. I was like, oh no, he's not in the room, but he heard it and came in.
One of my subscribers said, who's that Amish gentleman? He's calling you Amish.
Amish. That's a first. No, I
No, he's not up.
appreciate the compliment, sir.
He appreciates the comment, but he's not up.
Appreciate the compliment.
I'm a straight redneck. I'm southern.
Yeah, he's...
Straight redneck. Oh, come on. You're going to take out every comment about rear entry?
Her daughters and grandsons' experiences
You're a chat
confirm
fascist.
what Debbie has felt for years. That her family has been the object of extraterrestrial scrutiny for
I'm
a quarter
also
of a
the
century.
only mod, so
The
I
reason
watch your
why
P's and
is being
Q's, Cody
explored through
Turbo.
therapy.
Do you notice anything about you?
Pictures.
Do you know why you're seeing these pictures?
To learn.
You know it.
This is about the future?
Yeah.
How far ahead? Way distant in the future?
Not way distant.
Pretty close in the future?
Next few years.
Just like Grace told Ben. If Mark Fusion was in the RV, he'd keep the Thorpes chill, keep them calm.
Based on the pictures, what would you say is coming up in the next few years?
Major changes. Geological changes.
Is there some kind of overall...
At one point, I was on Ben's ultimate, like, itinerary, or what would you call it? What do you call it? Like, who's on something? Like, the planes have, like, a manifest. It was him driving, Grace and passenger, and then me and EFD also in there. That was his dream RV lineup.
Message you can take from this, or lesson?
Yeah, not to worry. Things will be okay.
And why will things be okay if there's such major shifts?
Because it's all for the best.
Tupperware party. Now hear this.
Conveyed through telepathy or mind control are a common theme among experiencers, and there are very specific images both mother and daughter remember being shown.
Did the ETs communicate with you while you were seeing these pictures?
Is that a back scratcher?
Did the ETs communicate with you while you were seeing these pictures?
Yes.
And what was the flavor of their communication? Any general
A sense
flavor?
of urgency.
Urgency.
But
Urgency
yet,
for what?
For me to understand something.
Be
ETs
serious,
give
Cody
a
Turbo.
variety of different kinds
I
of
have it like
messages,
an impeccable
such things as earth
reputation in the
changes,
void.
Cataclysms, geological, weather, epidemics, social unrest, wars have all been shown to experiencers. And it appears that these future scenes are either probable futures that will happen unless we clean up our act.
Like a growing number of experiencers,
How dare you.
Shannon and Debbie believe that they have been charged with a mission.
They actually
have been
based that
told to
series
spread the
Blossom off
aliens'
of this girl in real
otherworldly
life.
warning, and they have been told to move away from California. They don't know why they are to move, but the family believes that the reason will be revealed to them when the time is right.
I just got up one day last summer and said, we've got to move to New Mexico. I mean, I just knew.
The entire family has now relocated
the
to New
aliens?
Mexico. Debbie and Shannon are trying to spread the message. They
But
believe
is she upset about it, though? She seems like she's almost viewing this as like a blessing.
they've received through extraterrestrial contact. After the completion of this report, Dr. Richard Boylan's license was revoked by the California State Board of Psychology for misconduct unrelated to his work with the McGill and Hernandez families. Both families wrote to the board and to Sightings, stating that they continue to believe in and trust the therapy that they received from Dr. Boylan.
Next, Dan Kish is blind, but his uncanny ability to see could change the world.
Hey, Cody,
for the
have you ever seen that
Sightings.
movie, Fighting Black Kings?
I have never had a student who does what he does.
I gotta go.
It's a well-known fact that people who have lost one or more senses, like sight or hearing, can sometimes develop their other senses to an uncanny degree. Doctors call it compensation. Dan Kish, a sightless man in San Bernardino, California, appears to have gone compensation one better. Sightings correspondent Carla Wohl reports on what appears to be Dan's development of an entirely new sense.
Imagine trying to navigate the busy...
Yeah, it's a documentary. And they go to I think it's the first open karate tournament in Japan, maybe. And they focus in on like a bunch of different people, but for some reason they called it Fighting Black Kings, even though like the black karate contingent is just like one part of the overall movie. But it was a really cool documentary.
The critical sense of sight, without the ability to see impending danger, or even the ordinary signposts we take for granted. Today, blind people are taught that they need the eyes of another, a dog or a helper, to negotiate the world of the sighted. Dan Kish disagrees. He's developed a sixth sense
that's part
that gives
of it,
him complete independence. He's the only human known to use echolocation as skillfully as bats and dolphins. Dan,
I know you guys are going to think that I'm trying to make a joke, and I'm not. This guy looks very similar to what Fardhammer looked like from that classic early internet porn series Fardhammer. Like Fardhammer kind of looked like this guy.
What is it exactly that you do when you echolocate?
Well, usually I click, and then I listen for the sound as it bounces off of all the objects in the environment.
So something like a bat would do, say, or a dolphin would do?
Well, it's exactly the same. The click is different, but the process is the same.
Can you tell me where the trees are?
Sure. Well, we just passed one, and here we have another one.
Another tree?
That's smaller than some of these others.
Uh-huh.
We have one here that's much larger.
Dan can visualize an object by the echo it creates. It's a unique ability Dan taught himself
Trying to
as
find
a
a
young
picture
boy,
from it.
before he
Hey,
even
here we
knew
go.
there was a name for it, or that other animals used the same method.
Okay, here we go. This is from fardhammer.net. Here's what Fardhammer looked like.
Similar to that of a bat, I suppose, and trying to locate things in front of him. And I used to ask him questions, why are you doing that?
Getting
He told
high,
me
watching
that
karate movies?
It's his
Hell
way
yeah.
of moving around. It's his way of seeing things.
For me, the signal is a tongue click. It sounds like this.
Pull. The object I'm looking for is this bulletin board.
I've worked for
HDF
21 years
Media?
as a mobility instructor, and so I've had hundreds of students.
Vincent
I have
Fozzie.
never had a student who does what he does.
In fact, no one is known
The
to do
original
what Dan Kish
inspiration for
does.
Hillbilly Jim.
He would walk along, and he would be clicking, and he would know there's a wall on my right, or there's a big tree now on my left side, or I'm coming to the corner, or whatever it happens to be.
How specific can you get? For instance, crossing the street here with your echolocation.
Now
can you tell me?
see, he has the skeptic lady, so it'll be interesting to see how she views what if she cuts him any slack.
Where a curb is, say, and where a driveway is.
Well, sure, they're different heights. The curb is higher. It reflects more sound. The driveway, a lot less. And the driveway's just lower.
So that's easy for you?
Sure.
His ability to locate and navigate around obstacles allows Dan to do something no other sightless person is encouraged to do.
The first time Dan rode a bike, and our family saw him riding a bike, is probably
An interesting
the first
guy.
time that they really realized that Dan could do just about anything he wanted.
Oh my god, a blind guy on a bicycle.
I used to go bike riding all the time because it was something that I could do. I wasn't relegated automatically to a tandem bike, or to riding on someone's handlebars, or to just staying at home while everyone else went on a ride.
Dan allowed us to challenge his ability to navigate in unfamiliar territory. We took him to a playground studded with metal poles. Incredibly, he avoided them all.
The process of riding a bicycle, particularly in unfamiliar areas, is both very exhilarating and very demanding. Demanding to the point where
What a
I might
wild
say
story.
that I can feel myself almost entering another state of consciousness where the senses are wide open and there's no room for any other thought.
Whenever he hears a person, like it echolocates to him and kind of looks like those guys, those dancing skeletons from the Connect.
Process of riding a bicycle itself.
Understanding echolocation is just in its beginning stages. We seem to have just gotten an appreciation for how miraculous this
Hey,
ability
Dr.
actually
Lawrence
is.
Rosenblum. He
Dr.
seems
Lawrence
like a
Rosenblum
happening guy.
believes Dan's ability offers a unique opportunity to study how the brain perceives sound.
might be something like getting a quick flash of what an environment is like as if somebody just turned the light on. Because what echolocation does is actually illuminate acoustically an environment.
We've got a parked vehicle to our left, probably a car.
Right.
Then a space and another parked vehicle coming up that's much larger than the first, a truck or van of some
Now,
sort.
Dan, how can you tell that? I mean, it's enough to know something's there. How do you know it's bigger?
It's just larger. It reflects more sound and reflects it from a higher direction, accounting for the height of the vehicle.
You're
this is
absolutely right.
really out there.
Despite skepticism
Wow.
from traditional instructors, Dan believes he
This
can
guy's a
teach
show-off.
echolocation to other blind people, especially children.
It's like if you guys can see with your eyes, and we can see with our ears.
Oh my God, and he's trying to
Teaching
teach
a
it?
blind child to ride a bike, to run, to roller skate, to tree climb, to rock climb, to hike, to do all those things is vital. All kids can ride a bike. So why should this one kid not be able to ride a bike?
By teaching echolocation to others, Dan hopes to forever change the way the blind see.
Well, I try
and
not
the
to
way
assume
we see
the
the
worst
blind.
of people. It's pretty wild.
Researchers maintain that, at most, humans use 10% of their brain potential. Dan Kish appears to have somehow tapped into part of the remaining 90%. If he has, just imagine what other remarkable abilities must lie dormant within us all.
Next, corporate America is turning to psychics to improve its bottom line. Later, the frightening secret that lies beneath Lima's Church of San Francisco.
In the
Here
news.
are some of the stories Sightings is following in the news. There are an estimated 450,000 Bigfoot watchers in the United States alone. In an effort to create a central clearinghouse for reports of the legendary beast, a new Bigfoot research center is opening in a very unlikely location. It's flat, it's farmland, and it's in Minnesota.
Crookston.
The town of Crookston is about to become home to the world's largest Bigfoot center.
The Bigfoot idea got started because when I first
Hey,
came
Parks.
here, they've been dealing with this issue
Dan
of how to do
Hallbrook.
tourism because we don't have any natural amenities here in
That
Crookston,
picture
such as
cracked me
lakes,
up.
to use as an asset or a resource.
But why Bigfoot? There haven't been any sightings here.
Whoa,
but
what a
as
cool
Holbrook
computer.
discovered surfing the internet, there have been Bigfoot sightings just about everywhere else.
And I thought, well, then this is not just a Northwest, Washington and Oregon and California where everybody thinks it is. This is really something that's a national phenomenon. And that's when I started thinking, well, how can Crookston take part?
Are you talking about Tim White's wrap-up? I think Tim White, in general, tries to treat it like everyone is telling the truth.
This national phenomenon.
He's a
Soon,
buddy
this
troll.
Crookston Museum will be transformed. Preliminary drawings
Polk
are
County.
already underway for new displays.
I wonder if they have Al
info
Bundy's
center,
uniform
and
in
a
there.
life-size replica of the legendary beast.
It'll attract people from outside of our town as well as giving us another thing to do inside of
Kim
our
Samuel's Ethiopian
The local
restaurant.
diner may be serving up Bigfoot burgers and dozens of gingerbread feet, but Holbrook insists his center is going to be more than just a tourist attraction.
Personally, I would say there's a high potential that this creature exists. Given the right resources, I believe we could prove it. We can put a man on the
Pathetic
moon,
drawing,
we can
wow.
prove whether or not Bigfoot exists.
Spoken like a true asshole.
In Palo Alto, California.
Oh my
Stanford
God, no
biologist Paul
way.
Ehrlich
Palo Alto? Wow.
is renewing his warning about the future of humankind. There is a new generation of drug-resistant bacteria capable of triggering a deadly epidemic.
We're likely to lose a large portion of humanity to emerging viruses, to the many now resistant strains of bacteria, to the resurgence of malaria and so on. And there's a lot to be said for that. In other words, the epidemiological situation is extremely severe, largely because of the size of our population, because of our population growth. So we could have a dieback from plague.
Recently,
I did, Parbs. It was absolute cinema. Amazing.
Sightings reported on an upsurge in the number of deadly viruses unleashed during
So you
the
can't believe
destruction
your
of
eyes and it
tropical
just keeps
rainforests.
going?
Some researchers believe it is Earth's way of turning on its attacker, the human race. It's called Gaia's revenge, the Earth's revenge. Now, there is growing concern that these viruses are not alone. New insidious bacteria may prove even deadlier.
Yeah, that was a great segment.
Mutant forms of pneumonia, immune to penicillin, and new strains of antibiotic-resistant tuberculosis are already appearing worldwide. Some scientists believe...
It was like a movie where they couldn't afford to shoot the special effects, so some character's looking at it, you know, and just telling you, and the camera's on them, and he's like, there are great explosions, the 3D effects are amazing. Oh, somebody's coming at me from the right. Oh, and now I have an option up front to take one of two upgrades. The first time, just on and on and on, and you can't see anything.
Believe that these may be precursors to a global, unstoppable plague.
Perfect.
Medical researchers have had to search for ingenious methods to keep these bacteria in check. However, they cannot be certain that humankind will continue to prevail.
Uh-oh.
In New York City, where Wall Street's bulls and bears direct billions of dollars
not the
every
bulls
day,
and the bears.
the art of the deal is taking on a whole new meaning.
One of the favorite things investors say is that the billionaires...
I thought he was
use
just joking
metaphysics,
and he
the
would stop
millionaires
after a
don't.
few minutes.
Because the billionaires know that magic has a lot to do with making huge amounts of money.
Barry Dolnick calls herself an executive mystic. She claims to have counseled some of America's top movers and shakers.
I see people on Wall Street, people who run big portfolios, heads of divisions of some of the biggest companies in the world.
You know a character that's aged really well? Gordon Gekko. Imagine being like the worst of the worst in the corporate world at that time was viewed as a guy who just really liked money. Like he'd almost seem like a naive character in modern day corporate America.
Creative people, artists, actors.
In fact, Dolnick herself
this at
was
the
once a
Big E?
corporate executive. Metaphysics was just a hobby until she started sharing her psychic talent with a few high-powered clients.
Dude, seriously, I love this
I think the
music.
interesting thing about Barry that makes her very unusual is her business
Susan
background
Ricci.
combined with her ability to work with you on metaphysical
I bet
things
Susan
makes her
Ricci could put
an
one on
unusual
you know?
counselor.
Typically, Dolnick uses tarot cards and detailed astrological charts
she
to
one of
help
the
clients
busty
plot
tarot card
long-term
readers?
business strategies or evaluate marketing plans. And for help up the corporate ladder, Dolnick mixes individualized herbal charms. However, she always reminds her clients that on Wall Street, there are no guaranteed bets.
What I do have a gift in is prophecy, and I can see what's likely to happen in the future, but it's up to you to make it happen. So it's sort of it's got to be a two-way street.
We'll have more stories from the news next time. Now, here's what's coming up on Sightings.
She's called Amazing Grace.
I mean, she's a woman, so I assume she's been involved in tarot cards.
We
at some
are
point.
unable to explain why she survived an almost lethal
If
situation.
she, like, I only really know her lore in depth from when I started watching her, and that was as she was like, you know, had pretty much wound down to much different type of content. But I don't remember any tarot card stuff. She talks a lot about like astrology.
And proof that the United States has been building flying saucers.
Jimmy is heavily involved in tarot cards. And many of the tarot card readers on YouTube have, in fact, blocked Jimmy from participating in their chats or interacting with them in any way.
Faith healing has a long and checkered past in American history.
I think
Elmer
she looked
Gantry
like she'd
comes to
be,
mind.
she'd
Charlatans
know
and
exactly how to
thieves
make
have
sure
supplanted
all
what
your
were once real
stress was
healing
relieved.
miracles performed in simple country churches. Today, Grace DeBacari is on a one-woman campaign to restore the integrity of faith healing. She believes that the way to do that is to heal as many people as she can.
The evidence is there's a woman with an
Michael
incurable
Guilfoyle.
disease that I know is not fake. She's got 6 doctors that are telling her, this is the way it is, this is what's going to happen. The best you can do is slow the progress of the disease. Goes to all the fancy clinics, etc. Nothing works. She goes to this lady who's jumping around on a stage singing and banging a
this is
tambourine like she was
completely
just
strange.
stepped out of an Elmer Gantry movie, and it's gone.
Jimmy seems
To
calm.
those who believe, she is a savior, an evangelical preacher known simply as Amazing Grace.
Grace knelt down to me,
For
and
him,
she
yeah.
asked me what affliction I had, and I told her multiple sclerosis. And all she did at that point was just lay her hands on my forehead, and I went right over backwards.
They are flocking to her services in Danbury, Connecticut from all over the country, from all over the world, in fact.
Wait,
They
Danbury,
pray for a
Connecticut.
miracle, and many prayers are being answered.
It was an instant healing, a total and instant healing right then and there.
Many of the people who come to
Oh,
see
man,
Grace
this is so
Stevakari
depressing.
have been branded with the label incurable. But Grace seems to have an uncanny ability to strip off that label and heal.
Grace asked me to hand over the cane that I had to her, at which point I did. And she told
At
me
which
to
point?
walk from one end of the gymnasium to the other and back to her.
Her walking alone on a basketball court was a prescription for a broken arm or a bloody nose or something. But she went all the way up the aisle. She turned around, she came back the aisle, and then she wandered out of the gymnasium basically in a daze. And at that point, I forgot pretty much everything except trying to get to her and find out what the heck is going on here.
Many people believe Grace can somehow stimulate the power of an individual's mind to heal their own body. Grace's own explanation is much simpler.
I don't consider myself a healer. I believe it's his divine healing.
Oh,
And
my God.
I just call out whatever he'd have me do. I'm just a regular person, just minding my own business, taking the children to softball.
Look at that hair.
Grace can recall the exact moment she believes she was given her healing gift.
I had a near-death experience where I went up into the heavens and I saw a tremendous light and I wanted to enter. It was wonderful. And then I stood there.
Do you think Grace's like gangbang and DP kink is because in her fantasies she has the energy and ability to maintain relationships with two men at the same time, whereas in real life she's just kind of only focused on Ben?
And said, no, I'm not ready, I'm not ready.
You think it's like
And
a
my spirit
metaphor?
went back into my body and I woke up. So I thought, well, God, I'll do anything you want me to do. And then what I felt God speaking to me, saying, sing and leave the rest to me.
I was once so lost, but now I am found.
God speaks to me, he'll tell me, go to the left, go to the right, go straight down the middle, and I'll do it. And as I go, I'll stop, and he'll say, right here.
Who here has a problem with their back? Problem with your back? Would you come here, please?
The crowded hotel
Of course she's a
ballroom,
scammer.
The laying on of a manicured
God.
hand. From the outside, it seems too cliche to be
She's at like a
believed.
Holiday Inn
but
or something.
what sets Grace Stevakari apart is documentation by medical doctors who will confirm the miraculous recoveries of patients once so close to death.
She was moribund, barely conscious,
Ronald
suffering
Chadash.
with seizures, blood pressure problems, kidney failure, severe anemia. She had fluid around the heart, fluid around the lung. She was in a desperate situation.
In 1987, Harriet Grimaldi was diagnosed with a supposedly incurable disease called scleroderma. She was told the end was very near.
I go upstairs and cry out to God to let me
Harriet Grimaldi.
because the pain was so bad.
For 5 months,
She was married to
Harriet
the head of
kept
the
in
Grimaldi
intensive
crime
care
family.
unit of Phelps Memorial Hospital. Doctors didn't expect that she would ever return home, but Harriet was a fighter. And when she heard about Grace Stevakari, she convinced the hospital to release her for healing.
The first time I went, I didn't notice anything, you know? And Grace would always pray over me, and I could notice that I was feeling less pain.
I don't think they had
each time that
Spanx
I
back
went,
then, did they?
And I could
Control
move my
top
shoulders, I could
pantyhose,
move my
maybe?
hands, because I could hardly lift my hands. I couldn't raise my hands up.
Today, Harriet Grimaldi has more energy than ever. In fact, she is a volunteer gardener at the very hospital where she once lay dying.
She survived
Volunteer gardener.
a situation where nobody should have survived. And to the surprise of the medical community, we are unable to explain, A, why she survived an almost lethal situation, and second, why her disease didn't progress. And it almost appeared that it took a screeching halt and reversal.
I said, you should tell all your patients to come to Grace, those you can't help.
I feel like the first episode was like one of the
Tell the
best
doctors.
sightings ever.
Doctors who
And now we're
practice
just- now
near
we're
Grace's
drowning.
Connecticut home, like Dr. John Pagano, have started
John
sending some of their
Pagano.
patients to Grace's services.
A friend of mine was deaf in the right ear for over 20 years. I knew he was. She pointed to him and said to him, "You're going to be healed tonight." And in a few minutes, right after that, he was absolutely startled. A pop took place in his right ear, and he actually staggered back a bit. And even Grace, at that moment, said, did you hear that? And all the people around him heard something take place in his ear. From that moment on, and that was about 10 years ago, he's had perfect hearing in the right ear.
Amazing grace, how
They'll play this over whatever sad ending Thorpe story is.
But it doesn't
In the
matter what
Netflix
religion you are,
docuseries.
what denomination you are. God loves all people of all faiths, all religions. He just loves.
Man, my
Loves
pause
all
game is
people.
off today. Abingdon's Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible. Okay.
Of all faiths, all religions. He just loves.
What I think is happening is that grace, in one way or another, stimulates
there he
the
goes.
healing forces within the people themselves. The God within them is acting because they either have faith in her, or there are some cases where they had no faith in her and it still worked. That even defies explanation. There was one man, he went reluctantly. He had a herniated disc.
I went there, and my wife
Foe
didn't want to come
Datino.
with me. She says, "I'll drive you there, but I'm not going in."
He was like ducking
Deleting
behind
half
the
your
people,
comments?
But Grace picked him out and told him to come forward. He was going to be healed.
I fell over like these other people, which I never dreamed I'd do.
Oh man, look at that
While
guy.
I was down, I felt heat come through my.
That guy
dreams
was
I'd do.
overtaken by the Lord, but he had time to make sure to fix his shirt so his belly wouldn't be out on sightings.
While I was down, I felt heat come through my
Look at that
back,
guy,
through
man.
my
He was
legs, my
completely
thighs.
cashed.
And
Oh my
I started to
God,
squirm
what?
on the floor, through my legs, my thighs.
Oh my God! Hey, this reminds me of Paul Orndorff getting tasered by Colonel De Beers.
And I started to squirm on the floor. I just like straightened out.
Oh man!
And I started to
Finger
squirm
poke of
on the floor.
doom.
I just like straightened out.
Pow!
And I started to squirm on the floor. I just like
Man, I
straightened
can't get
out.
enough of that.
And I
That
was
is
able
craziness.
To try to get up, the ushers were trying to help me. She says, "No, he'll get up on his own." And I was able to get up on my own, and I stood up straight for the first time in 6
I don't know.
months.
There's
I
no
was actually
limits on the
straight.
chat that I'm
I
aware
started
of.
to cry in front of these people who I didn't want to be here with. And
And there are no
touched me just
managing
like that.
moderators that could change
If
that. They're just all
the
standard
concept of
moderators.
Jesus Christ is what stimulates the healing powers within you, then that's right. If the concept of science stimulates the healing power within you, that's okay too.
Do you think they'd let me
Or
live
God, the
stream getting
universal
faith healed?
consciousness and all that, whatever it is, whatever avenue your consciousness is attuned to, that's what will work for you.
Looks like the Jonestown massacre. Woo!
It's important to know that Grace DeBaccari doesn't take any money for the faith healing she performs, and she doesn't believe any true healer should. She also wants you to know that she does not consider faith healing a substitute for conventional medical care.
Next, there's something unholy
Just a reminder, she doesn't ask for money, but she will accept money.
in the catacombs beneath the Church of San Francisco.
It was a very powerful force. I was alarmed and scared. It wouldn't let me enter.
In an effort
I
to
don't know.
provide a global view of the paranormal experience,
I thought they
Sightings
were
is
supposed to be
broadening
getting
the scope
looser
of its
with the
investigations. Recently, I traveled to South
guidelines,
America
not
and
stricter.
in Lima, Peru, discovered a haunting secret buried beneath a centuries-old cathedral. It was in 1535.
I'll have it happen every once in a while, but it's normally when I say something, this is gonna sound really bad, but if I say something sexual to the streamer, it'll auto-mod it a lot of the time.
The first year of the Spanish colonization.
That's why I like to have
the
moderators
Cathedral
so I
of
can
San
say whatever I
Francisco
want
was
to.
begun here in the oldest part of Lima, Peru. For centuries,
Like if I put
the
something
friars
about
here have
box in
talked of
Bethadome's
encountering
chat, sometimes it
what they
won't
call
show it.
unsettled spirits. Not surprising, perhaps, for a place that is built literally on the bones of tens of thousands of people.
Oh, wow.
The
You think it's a
catacombs were
race
first
thing,
built
Laughing Cedar?
as the foundation for the church. They were in fact the cemetery of the church and of its parishioners. The catacombs are immense. And there
Did he
are
say the
many human
catacombs?
remains. The catacombs are immense.
The catacombs.
The cemetery of the church and of its parishioners. The catacombs are immense. And there are many human remains. Bones and skulls
Down here in the
which are interred here.
Macabre designs have been created in the catacombs below this historic cathedral, created with the bones of more than 25,000 seemingly restless spirits.
There are people who don't believe it. But once you
Father
see it,
Hermano
you believe.
Benito Sanchez,
You have to have a
Officer
certain
Sanchez's
sight in order
grandfather.
to see spirits. A priest once told me that ghosts have so much power that they move faster than thought.
Father Benito is 82 years old. He has lived and worked in the church since he was a child. Over the years, he has seen many ghostly apparitions rising.
This guy is close with God, and he's 82, and he's barely getting around. Gangster Gloria living a zero fucks given degaff lifestyle, and she's like dancing every Friday and shit. I want to know what Gangster Gloria's doing.
From the catacombs below.
He was tall.
Narcissist or
and he was wearing a
sociopath.
monk's
I
habit.
think they should
I was
censor
stunned.
anyone who says the word empath.
I just stood there and he walked to another wall where the door was closed. And he
What is
walked right
Gangster
through the
Gloria
closed door.
doing to stay young?
Naturally, it shocks you because your heart beats faster and your legs get a little weak, you know? After it goes away, you pray to God because of the power of the Spirit.
Today, the Cathedral of San Francisco is a refuge where the citizens of Lima seek solace and find peace. But it has not always been this way. The history of the area,
Wow,
in fact,
I don't need
all
to
of
see
Peru,
this,
is drenched in the blood of the Spanish
pornography on my
Inquisition,
screen.
spearheaded by Francisco Pizarro. Just
Ooh,
outside
Francisco
Lima stand the
Pizarro.
ruins of the ancient religious center of Pachacamac. The conquistadors desecrated the temple and declared its followers heretics and devil worshippers. Most of the people here were murdered, and the rest were enslaved and forced to build a new city of Lima and its new church. The Inquisition lasted for more than 300 years. The accused and the accusers are now entombed together.
I wanted to go into the catacombs with a flashlight, but I was
Catacombs.
unable to. There was a very powerful force. I was alarmed and scared. It wouldn't let me enter.
Cristal is one of Peru's
Well,
most famous
I
psychics.
guarantee you nobody is taking anything down in this chat. Anytime the mods want to do something, they almost always talk to me first. The one time that it didn't is the time that it spiraled into chaos with ATF Media and that other guy about the big booty Latinas.
Although she knew about the spirits in the Cathedral of San Francisco, she had never dared to personally enter the catacombs. At Sightings' request, she agreed to descend into the haunted tombs. Almost immediately, she became agitated, then seemed to make contact with an unseen force.
La presencia de alguien.
I feel the presence of someone here.
Energéticamente muy negativo.
Very energetic, very negative.
Muy violenta.
Very violent.
Que fue enterrado por casualidad acá.
He was buried here.
Mató a mucha gente.
He killed many people.
La descripción de este espíritu era...
The spirit would definitely be described as being native to Peru. He had been a great witch or a
I deep clean
shaman
my
in
one
his
hitter and now I
time.
keep
He had
pulling
absorbed
the
the
cherry
energy of
through.
a friar who was there,
The two of them interchanged their energies.
Interchanged energies.
He was accused of
Matar.
murder.
Murder.
Mediante
For using
hechicerías a otras personas.
witchcraft.
I don't know. What do you
against
think
others.
about
Siente odio.
He's full of hate.
exchanging energy in a
Y me fastidia
catacombs?
que estemos acá.
And he doesn't want us to be here.
Crystal tried to communicate with the dark spirit, and it seemed to respond.
Justo en ese punto se apoya.
He's standing right in front of me.
There was an abrupt physical change in Crystal. She said the force had entered her body.
Stop.
Okay, do you think that the Slender Man episode of Criminal Drip? I have to talk to you guys about this. I can't imagine anybody I know in real life would want to talk about my true crime podcast with Methadone Clinic. Do you think that the Slender Man episode is a good time for me to kind of ask Methadone some questions about the demon that she invited into her, I guess, where do you keep a demon? Is it in your soul? Is it in your brain? I don't know. But I feel like the Slender Man episode would be a good place to maybe bring some of that lore in.
Later, she would describe it as a battle of the souls, a battle she won by releasing the spirit.
Camina hacia la luz.
Walk toward the light.
Hazlo.
Do it.
Libérate.
Liberate yourself.
Entendí todo.
I understand everything.
She said it was her psychic connection to his pain that allowed the spirit to go free.
Después de haberlo escuchado,
After I'd listened to him, I made him see that he was wrong, that he had died and that what he was doing wasn't right. And he accepted it.
These are the physical remains of soldiers and slaves, priests and sorcerers.
There's a great clip. I don't know if I actually clipped it or if it's still up or not, but on one of Methadone's early streams, she was complaining about something. She was acting out, and I asked her in the chat if that was Methadone speaking or the demon, and she got really mad. Like, I thought I was making fun of her demon thing. She's like, it doesn't fucking work that way, Mark Fusion.
While dead men tell no tales, their spirits often do, especially here, where people who battled each other in life
Doesn't fucking work
seem to
that
cry out for peace in death. While it seems that Crystal was able to release one of the restless spirits from the catacombs, it's estimated that more than 20,000 people are buried there. The friars of the Cathedral of San Francisco report that the haunting activity is as pervasive as ever.
Next was what crashed at Roswell, a
I
flying
can't
saucer made in
believe-
the USA.
They've channeled this
I was looking at her playlist, and I was like, I can't believe I've been documenting Methadone for like almost a year. That's so crazy. Like, if you asked me, I legitimately would think it'd been like just a few months.
information from what they thought were extraterrestrials.
Recently, Sightings brought you an extended report on government experiments with saucer-shaped aircraft. We showed you the Avro car.
I've just got to make
crude
one quick
experimental
edit
craft
on the
first
video,
tested in the
and then we can
1950s.
watch the whole
Well,
thing
now,
sometime.
newly declassified documents reveal that the military
What's
was
up, Dave's
testing
channel?
and flying much more sophisticated saucer designs. The secret project was codenamed Silverbug. Near the end of World War II, the Allied forces had gained complete air superiority over Hitler's Luftwaffe.
I asked her about, I need access to some of her unavailable files, and so we were talking about that, and she was saying, asking me which ones, and I didn't answer her, I guess, in time, and she's like, well, I'm going to my honeys for the night, so I won't be able to get back to you after this. I was like, okay.
The Germans were desperate. They ordered the immediate development of an aircraft capable of vertical takeoffs and landings, because nearly all of their runways had been destroyed. The project was spearheaded by Dr. Richard Mita, known today as the father of...
Oh, Clamgate, Hearts and Flowers? No, I think he's talking about her very first ever live stream. It was like 6 hours, and it was just like a progressive dive into alcohol, like literally, I'm not exaggerating, into like alcoholic psychosis toward the end. And then she deleted it, like perma deleted it, but I recorded the whole thing.
Dr. Mita was hired by the Luftwaffe, German.
Although we do have a documentary made by Bethadone about the time she showed her clam on Celebrity Sunday.
Air Force to build a saucer-shaped craft that could vertically ascend and with rockets shoot down large numbers of Allied planes.
Henry Stevens.
But the Germans were too late. The war ended before Mita's saucer got off the drawing boards. But his designs and technological breakthroughs did not go unnoticed by the American military.
We had large numbers of technical people searching through Germany as they were moving right behind the
Yeah,
troops.
and in
They
fact,
began-
I liked it so much that I negotiated with the Bethadone Clinic. I own like the full right. I have like legal ownership over the entire stream.
April of 1945, and they would send back everything they found.
Yeah, Beth's fine. She spent last night, she was with her boyfriend last night. I don't know when she's going to be back today, but she was in good spirits and everything.
And according to Alexander Flax, former Assistant Secretary of the Air Force, German technology wasn't
While
the
you're
only thing
drinking
being
whole
shipped to
milk
North
in a
America.
hot tub.
After World War II, Dr. Mita himself began work on a secret aircraft project at A.V. Rowe Aeronautics in Canada.
I think she's
Dr.
in a
Mita
really good
at
place,
A.V. Rowe
honestly.
was working on some of the concepts that were derived from the German experience, and there were certainly saucer-like flying machines. Anybody looking at them could...
What was that about? That's Bethadone. Like, that's Bethadone Clinic. That's how she acts. Like, that's nothing, honestly. Like, I'm not goofing on her or anything, but, like, that's how she acts. She was going to the dentist one time, and she sent me a series of the absolutely most soul-tearing, terrifying messages, freaking out about. And then, like, when it reached this, like, fevered pitch, then she was like, the next one was like, oh, okay, I'm here at the dentist. I gotta go. I'm so silly sometimes. I was like, what?
Decided that these were indeed flying saucers.
And there is evidence that soon after the war, the United States had also launched a super-secret project to develop vertical flight vehicles.
The vertical takeoff and landing programs had a long, long history.
Armani was like, now relax, baby girl, relax. Ain't nothing going on. No problems at all. You just relax. Ain't nobody out on the deck.
We had many, many programs. Among the three services, I counted at least 35.
Of those 35 saucer projects, the most highly classified was known by the code name Silverbug. Silverbug saucers were designed to fly 2,300 miles per hour.
Like those
at
dentist
an altitude of
messages, if I had
80,000
heard
feet.
someone, and she was being very, very loud, like I would have probably like called like someone for their own welfare. Like it was really wild. And then she was just like, I'm here. See you later. I'm so goofy.
Signs dating from 1955 were not declassified until March.
Which
of
I like.
1995.
I find all that
For
to be
over
very
40
endearing,
years,
but I can
America's
see how some
#1
people
flying
would be
saucer
like stressed
project
out by
was
it.
top secret. But this flying saucer project was not. In the 1950s, while Project Silverbug was under tight wraps, A.V. Rowe unveiled
Project
the Avro card
Silverbug?
to the public. Was this jerry-rigged flop really the best the brilliant Dr.
Wow,
Mita could
listen.
create?
Was this jerry-rigged flop? What a statement. It looks kind of like a neat frog, though.
Our car's just a cover. It's a cover story. What was actually built by A.V. Rowe is
Armani,
anybody's
calm
guess.
down, baby.
Ufologists believe that the U.S. military had everything to gain and nothing to lose by insinuating that this was the state of the art for flying saucers. It would deflect attention away from real saucers being tested and spotted by amateur skywatchers in the American Southwest.
There is virtually no doubt in my mind that the United States government built German-inspired designs in this country.
All right, Dave. Hang in there, buddy. We'll see you next time.
And probably some crashed.
The
I'm
release
sure
of
we'll all
Silverbug's
see you
plans
on
and
Boyd
protocol
Watch Live.
offers an interesting twist in the great debate over what crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. It could very
Which
well
will,
have
of
been a flying
course,
saucer.
feature Boyd Watch Live is going to be the destination for the premiere of, I think it's like 20 minutes of completely unavailable Luna Star content.
but one of ours, not one of theirs, and not the first.
No, I'm not the fearless
In Germany,
leader.
at about the turn of the century, many secret societies developed. The Vril machine was built by the Vril Society.
And the Vril saucer was, in turn, based on the instructions left behind by a mysterious ancient
Now we're getting
These texts were
somewhere.
instructions on how to build this interdimensional machine. They've channeled this information from what they thought were
Thule.
extraterrestrials.
Treeborg.
Built this craft that levitated. The first piloted flight was in 1934, and they knew they had some.
Well, here's the problem with the date, okay? She found out that the guy was polyamorous and that he liked to date multiple women at the same time. And I'm not judging, but I'm saying that, like, that's not right for Luna. She doesn't want that. So, like, even though she's in, like, kind of this sensitive place after the breakup with King Lee, like, she was able to recognize, like, that she didn't want to be with a guy that was in a, she wanted to be in a monogamous relationship. So she actually put an end to the Brennan Stauffer era. So I think we can officially mark his file closed in Luna's lore journal. Brendan Stauffer, you brought us 2 good streams of content to talk about. Your story may be over, but it will live forever, as well as all the wealth of personal information that Luna shared about you during your brief stay in the Void.
Something at that point.
It appears that the saucer
We need to
silhouette
get
will
Lee
soon be
back.
seen in the skies again. This is the Tier 3 minus U.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I just want to let you know, Anand, that King Lee dumped her, not the other way around, and everything.
UAV. It's a state-of-the-art surveillance drone built at the world-famous Lockheed Martin Skunk Works in Palmdale, California.
Yes, she did make the right decision.
Looking at this
absolutely.
aircraft
For
head-on,
her, absolutely.
one can't help but observe that saucers are real.
All right, see you later, Dave.
If you've had a paranormal experience, please write to us at Sightings. Sightings can also
I
be
want to.
contacted
Okay,
at
we don't have
America
time for
Online
another
at
sightings
keyword
after this, but
Sightings.
I'm gonna watch the Hannibal UFO interview he did the other day. I thought it was kind of funny, but if you guys don't want to, that's fine. I'm gonna be back. I don't know, probably like it. I don't know, maybe like a. I don't know. I'll say at the end of this, but I'll be back this afternoon for a Luke West stream. But I want to watch that Hannibal video first before I
At
go.
the Sightings Forum, download images, sounds,
Yeah,
and
King
quick
Lee
time
are just
clips.
friends, unfortunately.
Also, join us daily
Or
in our chat
fortunately, I
room,
don't know.
live on AOL.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind. For Sightings, I'm Tim White. Next.
But we'll definitely return to Sightings soon. There won't be another like months-long wait in between. And just for awareness, we're probably closing up on season 4, which means I think season 5 is the last season. There might be season 6, but we have very little ahead of us compared to what we've watched, but we will finish Sightings. Let me find this Hannibal. Let me find this Hannibal UFO interview. Hannibal UFO. I think he did it on the Hannibal TV. I don't think... Well, he might have put it on both of the channels. I don't know. Okay, let's see. He was live for it. Here, oh my God, this is a long interview. We may not watch the whole thing, but let's watch some of it anyway.
All right.
This is Gene Stico from engineeringinfinitybook.com talking to Hannibal about I think it's mostly about the Obama interview where he said aliens were real.
All right.
This is Hannibal here from The Hannibal TV on YouTube. It's been a while since we've done a UAP podcast, and this is actually going to be on the Wicked Alien YouTube channel as well, because we have none other than Infinity Engineering book author Gene Stico joining me again, former U.S. Air Force security expert, correct? And you've been actually traveling.
It's because the content makes itself, and Hannibal's already got an audience that's pretty open to it. I'd say wrestling and UFOs have a decent crossover, and just like with wrestling, he can just let these legends tell stories. He can just let these UFO guys and conspiracy theory guys fill airtime, you know?
All over the U.S., attending conferences in Washington, the East Coast. Some people are saying your wife may have been intentionally poisoned at one of these conferences. But before we get into that, how have you been? Catch us up on what you've been up to.
Good. Yeah, good to see it. Feels like it's been forever since we've done one of these. Yeah, but, I guess, the highlights was back in December, right? What was it? What was it? Early January? I guess January, right? Second week in January.
It's been a while. I think we had everyone on for one.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a delay I think there's a bit of a delay today for some reason. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I think when you pop back up. So it was in DC for the Virginia UFO event. That was just amazing to be there. We, first of all, had a great time. We drove down with Ty Rock.
Let me show you real quick, and then I'll come back. The Hannibal's terrible AI logo for his UFO channel. Wicked Alien Productions or whatever.
Roberts from Total Disclosure Podcast, who doesn't live too far from me. And then on the way, we stopped in New Jersey.
He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he does.
From Perfect Storm Gaming. And we had a boys' road trip down to DC. Met up with Joe Biscotto from UAP Reporting Center. When we got there, he popped over. And then by the end of the night, it was the four of us, Gino Gentile from Y-Files, Jeff Nucitelli. We were hanging out with him for the evening and, talking all things going on in the
the Jeff Nucitelli. For anyone that doesn't know, that's a guy that was one of the people that testified at the last hearing. Very credible person. I think he has a podcast now too. But I just had to throw that in there in case anyone didn't recognize the name. I really like that guy.
Yeah, no, great guy. I mean, and I'll tell you, this is the benefit of going to stuff like this, because to have the opportunity to sit down one-on-one and to fill in blanks, right? Because so much of what we get, people go on, they do, an hour, 2, 3 hours sometimes of these interviews, right? And we just get clips and highlights. I doubt there's anybody that sits down and watches carefully all 3 hours of a recording.
Is he talking about the Thorpe content?
Interview, you probably scroll through or you jump to, whatever section is on there that might interest you. But having the ability to sit with Jeff and, ask like follow-up questions, things that, when I hear the bits and pieces, I was like, that kind of doesn't make sense, or that doesn't make sense, and then you're able to get the full context of it. So, it really, it's great to meet people and have the ability to do that, because so much of what we get, I think even from our own communities, still going through some kind of filter, and you just got to go have the conversations.
Yes, and one thing I'll bring up, because it's a hot topic, we'll jump right into it before we get back into what you were doing in Washington, was the news about Barack Obama kind of saying recently in a podcast that aliens exist, but they're not at Area 51. So, I mean, is that another step towards probably Trump is going to admit something before the end of his term? I've seen Trump's daughter-in-law say in a recent podcast as well, she thinks it's kind of on the table for him to say, and he knows a lot more about it than he had known in the past. What do you make about what Barack Obama said, and what do you think of that?
Yeah, so again, I throw on my intel hat when I look at this, right? And I don't look...
So he was talking about how much he liked that Jeff guy. First of all, I never thought he would pin this fucking comment, but I did kind of a reference for old ATF media, and I said I heard Jeff had an issue with Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin once over the house count. I don't know why he put it. I don't know why he pinned it.
Look at anything in isolation. I look at the entire chessboard, the entire playing field, as we have it right now. And there's a lot of interesting things that are converging at once. And, given little insights and bits and pieces that you hear on the ancillary, on the side chats and whatnot, it's an interesting picture that emerges. So if we start, at the top level with Obama's comment and what he said, and then what he didn't say, right, which was they're not at Area 51. But he didn't say where they are, right? You have to always remember politicians speak in terms that if you don't ask the right question the right way, the answer is not necessarily a lie or an omissions count. Omissions are not necessarily lies, and all the rest of it. But I think the big part of that was the definitive. Yes, the definitive, they're real.
Hannibal going on the Wicked Alien Radio account to ask people to give the video a like.
What does that mean then in the larger context of everything else that's going on in the playing field? So we've got the rumors of, a summertime Donald Trump disclosure speech that's ready to go. I've seen May, I've seen July 8th. I think in July, that's also during the
hey, maybe it'll happen at the White House UFC event in July. Conor McGregor will be there for it.
It could be, right? It could be.
Oh my God.
Any of those.
Speaking of MMA, did you guys see that they're going to put on that crazy fucking nostalgia fight? Gina Carano against Ronda Rousey? That is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Scenarios exist, but
we should watch that on... we should go on Twitch and play that and watch that fight.
I go back to a point I've made, I started making
a
long ago and I'm still consistent with, there has to be a political win. So if we look at the politics of everything that's going on right now as well, we're coming into midterm elections. Trump's favorable rating is down. He's lost favorability with younger crowds. Obviously, the Epstein files is taking a hit on overall issues like transparency and everything else. Midterms are generally a time when you see like the House and the Senate flip. By all indications, all polls, the Dems are already 5-6 points ahead.
That's true.
Just in general polling. So
yeah, it's gonna happen on Netflix. I'm actually not gonna lie. I'm really it's the first time I've looked forward to an MMA fight in forever, but I completely understand it's not gonna be the fight that I want it to be. But it's just such a like, I had just completely moved on from it. You hope the fight is fixed. You don't think she could beat Ronda Rousey? Ronda was one of those people that once she lost, that was kind of it.
Whereas before, I was leaning more.
I read her book, and at the end of the book, the book kind of a recurring theme is how she's undefeated.
Towards the 2027 as being more politically advantageous.
Didn't what's her name
sort of
whoop up on Gina
circumstances
Carano
now in the
bad?
larger
Cyborg.
context of things that you can see potentially a political win.
If we can't do, maybe we can do it on Kick.
Doing it now or doing it during that summer time frame. He can piggyback, of course.
Obama
if he
stole
goes
his
for
thunder.
July,
Give me
that'll
a
be
break.
piggybacking off of the Spielberg film. So what does that say about Obama and what Obama said? Well, again, nothing in politics.
Do you think they would really try to tie in a disclosure about aliens to a new Steven Spielberg thing? She had no R after that, I agree.
Politics happens in isolation, right?
Man, though, her fights with, what's her name? Misha Tate. Oh, my God. Every one of those was like, really, anytime Ronda Rousey fought up until Holly Holm was like, it just had that unbelievable, big fight atmosphere.
So
but those
there
Misha
could be
Tate
a
fights were
scenario that we're
amazing.
looking at here where the win-win out of this is disclosure has to be a bipartisan.
Plus, she rocks
yes,
the
we
trad
are all
braids.
saying that this is happening, and we're all saying that it's, you know, happening together, because the natural inclination of the Dems would be whatever Trump says is a lie and is, you know, obvious. But this is a tough issue to do that on, because again, we're talking about transparency. We're talking about a lot of bipartisanship that's already being exhibited on this issue. So Obama doing what he's doing now sets the stage for, come a Trump level disclosure that happens, then the Dems can say, well, see, Obama told you this months ago. What are you getting all excited about it for now? And it becomes a little bit of a win-win.
I think he's overthinking
the
this.
caveat to all of that is, or the other factor is, that the Obama production company is producing a film for Netflix called The White Mountain, which is about the Betty and Barney Hill story in New Hampshire.
Wow, because that could mean a few things, right?
Right. So now that I think that film's being more, I think in other discussions that he's had about it, while it's also the UFO issue, there's also the aspects of civil
Rhonda
rights
could be broken,
and
you
the
know?
period in which that happened and the context.
Although I think she would be highly motivated to win in spectacular fashion, because if she does, that will really take the focus off of how her previous run ended, you know. That would probably be pretty motivating.
And I think that's why the you know, Obama production company was behind it as well. There's no scheduled release date for it. And there's no real update on has it concluded and where it's at as far as its production. But if you think about it again, if we have a Spielberg summer blockbuster being queued up, obviously Spielberg is a Dem supporter, right? The Obamas aren't going to want to be.
It's just so wild.
Stealing any of his thunder. But a piece like that, like the Benny and Barney Hill story,
I
could
agree. I think she's got to be the favorite.
You know, be available on Netflix within the same time period.
Oh, look, there's Jerry.
Supporting piece that kind of lifts both of them up at the same time, let's say. So again, there's a win-win there. I mean, you know a little bit about the film industry and all that.
You know a little bit about the film industry.
Yeah, and did you happen to see Eric Davis's interview on Soul? I found it so interesting. I watched it about 3 times because concussion-filled mind like me takes a couple times for it to compute. But he basically went on record saying, from all the research he's done, overall, there's not much evidence to show that these things are anything but malevolent when you look at the injuries that happen from not only the radiation from people coming into contact with UAPs and stuff, but from abductions, from them not telling us. What they may have said something at Holloman Air Force Base, because he also did talk about it in that interview, that one of Bush's people accidentally told President George W. Bush that Holloman landing, where they had interactions with ET, there was some communication, but overall, whatever they're doing, they're not asking for permission. And if they're so intelligent, why wouldn't they? But he was basically saying there's a lot of evidence here that they're malevolent. And I've even been reading a lot of Jacques Vallée's books lately, and some of these abduction stories are very frightening, whether the intention is to frighten or not. You're being taken against your will and having operations done on you against your will in many cases. But he also said this could be
I can't imagine that he pins this, but I thought I had a good comment in chat. I thought for sure would at least get his attention, is that I said I could like understand why he was so upset about this. You know, medical procedures being done without permission, because Abdullah had given him hepatitis without his permission, but I don't think he responded to it.
programming that's being implanted into our heads by governments, and it might not actually be happening. This might actually be a combination of holograms and testing by they're somehow testing stuff on our brains and making us imagine that this stuff happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, we've got, you've got the issue of the different species, of aliens that are out there. Was it 7 species or more potentially, whatever the case might be. I think
there's my south to west type comment. Gene is very optimistic.
The important thing to do is just take a step back, right? And admit we don't know what we don't know. And we really don't know all of these things, or at least we don't have confirmation of it, one way or another at this point, right? I don't think all of this will be resolved with with an Oval Office speech. Again,
I'll
I think
be so anxious.
Whatever we
right
get
before the
is
fight.
going to be.
I'm anxious now thinking
first
about it.
part of a long, slow rollout. This
it's like, it really is, even though it's these two like way, past it fighters, like this has stakes to it, for both of them. Like, it's weird to like care about a fight, or you know what I mean, or like a wrestling match. But like this, I think this fight really does though have more. I think this has more meaning than like any like title fight in UFC would.
Obama comment again. I've seen it already on Time Magazine and USA Today.
Very sweet comment.
And so it's hitting mainstream media. So again, it's a little bit. It could potentially be a little bit of a litmus test on how much traction does it get, how much follow up does it get.
This is another time when I thought for fucking sure, because normally he completely ignores me because I'm spamming. I'm the only person pretty much talking in chat, and I just keep saying that complete nonsense. And he fucking just cracked me up. Could Gene tell us a little bit about that artwork behind him?
The artwork behind me, that is actually just a print of the I'll say it correctly, the Van Gogh painting.
It's not done by the Russian aliens that passed it to your father-in-law, that passed it to your wife, who passed it to the house.
No, I think we got that at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. We got a couple of pieces there. So I used to live in the Netherlands. I used to go to the Van Gogh Museum all the time.
You've done it all. You're the real Forrest Gump. But intelligent.
I legit almost lost it. Like, I don't know what Hannibal was thinking with that comment, but like, what the fuck?
Version of Forrest. You've done
the Netherlands. I used to go to the Van Gogh Museum.
You don't like the fight? Come on, but doesn't it feel good? Like, that's good. Like, that you care. You're so invested in this fight that you're like, I don't even want old girl to get to do it. Like, that's what makes this such a great fight. Like, such a special moment.
All the time.
You've done it all. You're the real Forrest Gump.
You've done it all. You're the real Forrest Gump.
But the intelligent version of Forrest Gump.
I feel like it sometimes, yeah. But yeah.
Hey, and you mentioned bipartisan for the alien.
Artists, Vermeer, all of them.
Mentioning bipartisan for the alien, I just got to throw it in there. Don't you hate that wrestling has somehow become extremely political these days? It used to be bipartisan. It used to be an escape. And now we got to go to aliens if we want that, because wrestling is full of political messages and political fighting now, sadly.
Again, people think, that's...
Why I do not understand why he kept pinning my comments.
That's what sells. Listen.
Human race, etc. read and said this many times: upgrade a woman's eggs and they will be bred over generations. What? Paul Reckless talking about upgrading women's eggs. Very Jeremy coded.
But it happened, it's going on in the opera world too. And even in, some of the arts I've seen, the shows, the operas that get staged, all of a sudden every villain is,
You're the real Forrest Gump. What a kind host.
Orange skinned, blonde haired, And you know, even the LA Times, there was a writer on that who came out and was like, you know, I had enough of the news. I wanted to go to the opera and enjoy a night out, and all I got was a reinterpretation of the news. So you know, I'm done with it. So yeah, I think the same way. But you know, the one other thing that I find interesting going on now too, Hannibal, and you know, we say it in wrestling sometime, right? We're going back to the classics, right? In UAP, it's like we've, you know,
I mean, I don't think she really would have done much
the Mystery
anyway,
Wire
beyond,
series,
like, I don't think
which was a
Mandalorian was gonna, like,
relaunch of what he had done
catapult her or
before.
anything. She had been making
you know,
movies
pulled out
pretty
the
consistently, and none of
Russian
them were
UFO
really doing
stories.
much.
I don't even call them files because all he
Which
has is
I don't understand, because to me, like, she's a great, like, B action movie type lead, where you could have, like, the chick doing all the like a kind of a modern day Cynthia Rothrock.
Stories that were already old in 1993 in Russia, and
I should do a Gina
retelling
Carano
those.
tribute.
Now they're retelling
run of
Bob
reviews.
Lazar. Now Obama's coming back. You know, circling.
Please give the
circling
video a
back
like.
around.
Yes, because he appeared on Jay Leno years ago, claiming that he knew nothing about.
All right, I'm gonna go. I will be back in like. I'll be back at almost 1 o'clock here my time. I'll be back in about an hour. Well, yeah, wait. No, I'll be back in about like 40 minutes from now ish, like 39 minutes or so. All right, I gotta go though. Thanks for hanging out, learning about UFOs, seeing my weird interactions with Hannibal. Thank you to Hannibal. Thanks, Hannibal. You're the real Forrest Gump, but the smart version. All right, I'll see you guys later.